Excellent. Good morning, Vietnam. That's it, man. That's it. Yep. And we've got plus odd. I like it, man. Good morning, Todd. How you been, brother? You doing? How's Let's start how we always do. Run me down. We haven't had a show in a couple weeks. I think we actually had a show, but we only got 6 minutes of it up. We had a fun time, of course, but nobody got to join in. Um, which is, which is neat because we pulled at the end of that episode the black activist card on the Illuminati card, and we just saw like another black shooting up in Minnesota. So um, it's pretty neat how that shit happens. I mean, those Illuminati cards have been everything's been hidden, that the show has been used for. It's like spirits coming in, giving the soul a message, trying to let you know. We're trying to do like a week by week basis. So I guess everything, like the questions I pull in and the questions that I ask typically with all this divination is for like the week coming up. And also in a general sense of the now, like the times we're in a real, I like to keep it real open. That way everybody's views can be accounted for, just like the Bible. It's a multi-dimensional book. You can kind of get a lot out of it depending upon how you see the world, how you see the words, pretty much. They tell a different story depending on what kind of consciousness you have inside of you. But yeah, so we've been off it for 2 weeks, or I guess haven't got a show out there. So if anybody's joining in, welcome. If you know how to set the live comments up, Todd, to where they actually stick and they will hang out. I guess they've been getting deleted as soon as the live show stops. So I don't know if there's like a button you press to keep the comments, but just a heads up there on the technicality. Yep, yep. Got the It hasn't been. It's no biggie. It's no biggie. But if there's some kind of like, there's probably a radio button somewhere you got to click, and I have no idea. But just got the administrative stuff out of the way. Let me see here. We've got okay. So Todd, run me down. How's your weeks? How's your last couple weeks been? What have you been up to? What have you been feeling? What have you been seeing? Uh, okay. As a being of the middle, I bet you're sitting right in between that, trying to just have a family. Okay. Right, right, yeah. O- Okay. Right, right. Some symbolism in there. Was there some messages in there for you? Did you get some kind of general big message or this big sine wave that kind of you wrapped it up with that you got out of it, like that you were supposed, I mean, because that's pretty big, man. You kind of got led right into that. Like that's a couple hours of your life that you were getting tapped into. Right, right. Yep. No way. No, get out of here. That's nuts, man. That's so lead to you. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect, Todd. Oh, I bet you're stoked. I bet you're stoked. That's cool. Yeah, give us an update. Show us what that's really cool. Okay. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. That's a lot of deep connections to the Knight of Cups there. I mean, that's really cool, Todd. I thought a lot. I was actually rethinking about the Knight of Cups this morning before the show, and for some reason my mind went straight to the whole purpose of the cup in ancient times as a measuring. It was a measuring tool of space. So what you would do is you would have a set cup that you would always use, and you could monitor the level in the bowl that the water would rise to on a certain drip. So you'd set a certain quantity of water up, and then you would let it drip down into a bowl. And you could hear this too. You could build these cups out of certain metals or certain and make them different like diameters, so it would put out a certain tone. And you could actually set them to the Venus cycle or Mars or what have you. And when it drained, you would end up knowing how long seconds or minutes would fill cups, whatever interval you'd set the drip at. So it was a tool. A cup was very much the container of time in a way that, in a sense, that holds the water. And, you know, we're mostly water beings, so you could say that we're underwater. If you're 80% water, um, you're first of all, only 20% of you has to swim, right? I love that joke. I'm sorry.
Hey,
But
so real quick, I messed up.
so
My mic wasn't turned on. Your mic's
no
on.
way.
So
No, so everybody's been listening to half the story.
yeah, so
That's great. I think
I'm
I
gonna let
heard
me
I
recap it real
heard you the
quick.
whole time.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Thank you, Disintegral. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry. So real quick, we were talking about the energies. We were talking about last week, which is a mysterious episode now. And the last card we had draw was the Knight of Cups. And so there's a movie by Terrence Malick. You can look it up. It's got Christian Bale. It's called Knight of Cups. It's a story about tarot and whatnot. And that was the card we drew last week. So I watched this movie, and then so Thursday or Friday when I got home, because I was visiting my family last week, and I got a message from Lila Sparrow, which you guys might remember her from a couple episodes ago, and they are doing a collaborative Thoth deck, and she hit me up and asked to do the Knight of Cups cards. So that's
Oh,
kind of what
that's
we're talking
yeah.
about. And
I can't believe everybody missed that. Yeah, that was nuts.
sorry,
No, you're good. You're good.
uh,
No, you're
yeah,
and then what else? And then you had so that's huge. And then you had something else tying in right after that.
yeah. So the other main thing we were talking about is Florence Scovel Shinn. She's from the late 1800s and early 1900s, and she talks about the importance of your words, which is, we've been talking about that every episode pretty much to some
Absolutely.
degree. And hers is very spiritual and like, um, I, it's just it really resonated with me the stuff she's saying, and you get what you project and you reap what you sow and those type of things, and the way she does it, it's not, it's like real spiritual. Like it feels right in the way she's speaking, and it seems like Neville Goddard, if you ever heard of him, like it seems like that's where he got most of his info. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, and so that's sort of been the vibe for me in terms of those two main things is Knight of Cups and then the, getting to do the art. I also just posted the art that I'm working on for that card on that's
On
on
the stream there.
stream. Yeah, you should have a
Okay,
picture on the
cool.
chat too in the to
Let me
living
check
in
that out
tour.
here. That's
Um,
an honor, man. That's gonna be that's so cool. That's oh wow. Oh yeah, man.
so yeah,
Dude, that looks great. Todd, you're killing it.
thanks.
Wow, man. Look at that. Just that's really cool. Now, wow, I see like an inner child radiating as the sun. That's really cool, man. I see a lot going on there. We're gonna have to break that down. I'm gonna let you say completed and then we'll look at it. I don't want to do it any kind of injustice. All
Sure.
right, let me see here. That's it's coming along, Todd. It looks
Thank you.
great, man.
Yeah, I
So
appreciate
let me
that.
think here. So everybody, we should be pretty caught up. Let's see here. Give you a quick rundown on my side. Last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, every day's the same now. So let me just try to rewind that. I think about back to Easter, the beginning of April. I've had a pretty gnarly couple weeks. I'm pretty much without whatever the corona symptom is where you can't taste and smell. That's I'm on week 5 or 6 of that now. So I literally stuck my head in a can of coffee last night and couldn't smell anything. So it
Dang.
is what it is, and I feel great. I've never felt healthier in my life. I'm back running again every day, but I had to take a week off. Like, I don't know. I have a Brady Arcathia heartbeat where it's a natural low heartbeat, like around the high 40s or low 50s per minute. So I'm under a beat per second,
Oh wow.
and um, it goes up during. I guess one of the symptoms is that it attacks your pretty much your pulse and just at a resting rate. It seems I think that it's also tied that bradycardia low heart rate. I think it's tied to negative blood, so copper based blood, and
Hmm.
then I think in general this whole entire corona thing, I think they knew what was coming. I think there's a lot of natural changes going on with certain types of blood that are here because you have iron blood is the main population, and then you have copper blood, and those are both derivatives of gold and silver, from our golden and silver ages, and that's why you've got A and B and O, and it's a real the blood is a real interesting story. So I think they could see particular sine waves coming during these times, and I think they knew what was going to happen. So they went out and they created all these labels like they always do beforehand. Because when you read the stars, when you're looking at the only story that's ever been told, then and if you're a shitty, evil, manipulative soul,
A
then
warlock.
you use that information for nefarious things. And obviously your number one enemy would be the truth. This is why anybody with strong positions that indicate truth in a birth chart, it will also have something like has many enemies. The truth has all enemies against the truth. There's one single truth sitting up at the top of the mountain in the center, and there's this whole entire world of bullshit that trickles down the mountain and shit rolls downhill. So it's all falsities once you go out from the center, from the tip, from the height. Once you drop down from the quintessence, from the P raw mid. I mean, that four. the system of the four, you're on a 2D plane with four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Never eat soggy waffles. And pretty much that's the news system. NEWS is news. Okay, that makes a Z pattern, north to east to west to south. Z is apart, a trapezoid, right? It traps you. Look at the letter A. It's got the trapezoid in the bottom of the letter A. You've got that shape there, and it all starts with an angle or the letter A. And when that crossbar goes out, you've got a trapezoid and you've got an equilateral triangle occurring at the same time. And it's a left and a right system. But the
Mm,
whole thing in the beginning is a birth from the clear black, white, red. So once you're hitting the red, that's the right. And then the blue is the left, the loo. So you're not even out into our system until you're like frickin' clear. Okay, so clear is the entire glass thing that we're in. Okay. Black is space. When you look out, this clear thing you can't see birth this black thing that blinds, that blankets everything. And then you've got the white, which is pretty much, if you think of a wildfire that burns off and it creates all this black shit, that's the safe spots when you're in wildfire because you can't burn something twice. So when you
mm.
look out and you see the black, that's something that's already been burned. Yep. And that's the most, well, the white, they say, is the most powerful thing, but you don't fuck with the black. Like the black is eternity. The black is, I mean, in the 1561 Nuremberg event, when there were these red and blue Jupiter Saturn things fighting in the sky, when the black arrow showed up in the sky and all the blue and the red things crashed down to the ground, that shows you what the black is. The black takes back all the electricity from the little chicken shits that shouldn't be fucking around with something they don't know what they're doing with. And that's what the black is. It says, okay, you're done. That's why the Supreme Courts, they all wear black with a white undercoat with Uranus back there, with that deep, pure consciousness being the seat of the judge. So it's colors are all there to tell you a huge story, and black and white aren't part of the colors. Those are part of the on and the off.
Right.
That's why all the stars, all the white stars are the body of a constellation, and it goes to the red eye, and that's why white births red. Your body births something visible, which creates an eye. That's why you've got the red eye of the bull and the red eye of the lion, and it's red eye of a scorpion, and they're all red stars on the eyeballs. I mean, some are probably blue, and I really haven't researched that, so I only know of a few of them. I just think it's a neat coincidence when the white bursts the red, just like in the bleeding mushroom. It's the eye. So the red represents the infrared long wave, that super long wave. That's eternity right there. The red, the blood. All creatures have blood. That's why blood is a very sacred thing. It's the water on crack, pretty much, dancing around a pole. I mean, that's what blood is. It's sugar, it's the milk and the honey, and it's just everything in one. It's just a big old party in the blood. That's everything you know is in the blood. Everything you've ever done across all of your systems, across all of your bodies, across everything that you as electricity have attached to different magnetisms to different bodies. You are the free and the boundless electricity that keeps pushing the barriers and finding the new magnets. That's what we all are as light, as the quickest unseen thing in the entire cosmos. I mean, that's a pretty special position to be in. The fastest thing. You're so fast that you never had to leave home. You sat in the crystal the whole time and you just used yourself in the crystal to send out things. That's your body is a gateway key. When you go to sleep at night, you're entering completely different realms of existence. Your physical body, your matter, that sits right here, but in your astral and your eye being, those are gone. Those are your eye is your seat of consciousness, that infrared, that long wave, you're traveling. And then that feeling system, that is the central coreness of everything. If you don't have feeling, you don't have something. It's not real. You've got to have feeling attached to it. Feeling
Mm.
is consciousness. It's qualia. There's something it's like to eat a hot dog. I just love that experience. I don't eat hot dogs, but
Yeah.
you know that if you went to a ballpark, you were watching a baseball game, and you went and got like a hot dog and a beer, there's something it feels like in your consciousness to go to a baseball game and to have a hot dog and a beer. That's a certain feeling of consciousness.
Hey, you want to
Granted,
know
not
something
something that
weird?
everybody wants to go with, but
Right.
go ahead, Todd. I'm sorry. I'm going
No,
off on some deep shit already here.
no, you're good. Um, so from an art, so as someone who does art and painting and does all that stuff, what's really interesting about red and blue is so if you take and I'm gonna specifically talk about acrylic paints. So if you're familiar with different
Okay.
paints, they all have
Okay.
different ways of sort of drying. For instance, oil takes a long time to dry. Acrylic is sort of a plastic paint, so it dries fairly quickly, and you have like maybe 15 minutes before it sets. And then you have like
Okay.
gouache, which is sort of a graphic design paint. It dries very, very quickly.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting is when you take acrylic paint, and I learned this before any psychedelics. This is like, college age, 10, 15 years ago, right? And
Okay.
if you take white paint, and it doesn't specifically matter, which one, just a white paint. And it's a cool experiment you can do just to sort of see the power in the color alone. Is if you take just take any red and take any blue, and then you have a pile of white, like two piles of white, right?
All
Now,
right.
if you take a tiny drop of each one and you put that tiny drop of red into the white, like the whole it'll instantly you can see the power of just the color itself. It'll be so
That's
bright.
interesting.
It'll basically flood the white space with the red and make, a pink, right? But it's
Yeah.
if you
That's a
take that
great,
same
awesome.
yeah, you take the same size drop, right, of blue,
Right.
and you add it to the white, its own
You get
white thing.
green.
No, you'll get a like a really really cool white. Like it doesn't overpower in the exact same way.
Like a pearly luminescent white.
It'll look like the sky, but not as blue. And you can see that the power isn't like as intimidating as the red. Like that same quality of red that goes
Oh
into the
wow.
white is so much more powerful in how it changes the color and like the tint and all the whole
And that's
thing.
because the red, it's the long wave and the blue is the short wave. So the
Yeah.
blue dances off the red. The blue is like a little spark jumping up and down, doing the spark gap, and that red is that deep infrared long. If you are, so we are blood essentially. We are the blood. Essentially, we're an electromagnetic being, but I mean, here in this system, blood is a very deep core to our whole entire nature, and that comes from the red, and that shows you that we're almost sitting. If you look up into what they call the sky or heaven or the Father, that's tends to be blue during the day and black at night filled with stars. So you've got black and blue. You're gonna get beat the fuck up if you probably try to go up there. Um,
Maybe, I don't know.
uh, Maybe it's a neat thing, man. I think we're on the outside where Amy told me she's like we're flipped upside down and inside out, and I was like that
Yep.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
I mean, that's so that means you gotta go in, go and you pretty much your first step is to go in, and then once you're in, um, then you go out. I don't know. It's a neat. I'm still trying to get the fuck in. So I mean, I feel like it's constantly a feedback loop, and if you're a healthy being, it's a cycle of in and out, and I try to exist from that state, and granted it's not all the time. I mean, the whole purpose of divination is to let the inside come out unfiltered as it passes the human. I mean, you just take the human out of the way and you let the thing behind the human come through. And
right.
everybody has access to this realm just by donning a body as light. Now, granted, we all haven't. used bodies in this system for thousands of times. Some of us, this could be our third one. And there's a saying that the longer you wait as a being and the more you study it, and that's supposed to be the idea behind the Christ story, as Rudolf Steiner puts it, that when Christ dawned, the life of Christ, and Steiner holds that it was that there's obviously multiple stories with the Christ stories, but there was the Christ story didn't come to earth until a being took the Christ body. So
Mm.
somebody had to live the Christ and show the world the Christ. And then once it was shown, the Christ was here just by merely putting the knowledge, information, and the living body in the system here.
Mm.
So and the story behind it goes that Christ waited the longest to take the first body, which is neat because the way that I've heard some esoteric circles explain it is that Adam to Abraham to, down through all the patriarchs and then ending with like Ezekiel and shit is the story of the incarnations of Christ. And then when the New Testament folds over is supposed to be the incarnation where it was Jesus was perfected as the Christ. So the life started out as Jesus of Nazareth, and then Jesus of Nazareth became the Christ, the Christol, the crystal, the crystal ball, Baal. This is why that sound, that word, that spelling is demonized. They don't want you. In the old sites of New England, the old stone forts, in Salem, New Hampshire, on Mystery Hill, they've got the ball stone. It says to ball from the Canaanites or the
Mm.
Phoenicians. And it shows you that all of these lands, whatever they did, the whole story behind Tartaria, I mean, there was a rape, a pillage, and a restructuring. And pretty much they say the winners write the history book. And if you look at the word wine, WINE or WHI, like a whiner, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I guarantee you, um, this whole entire beautiful system, it was just something happened. Something really bad happened, and that was probably what they call the fall. And when we fell into matter, I think we were already here, doing our thing. And I think all these lands that you see, these were all in a different realm, and they fell into this realm. The whole entire Tartaria, all of the buildings, that whole realm was connected, and that was in a different realm. That was you. People wonder, how the fuck do they build all this shit? How could they have such awesome architects? And you know what? There's definitely humans out there that can duplicate those things. I'm not going to say that, but to the
Mm.
scale that this was done at, the intricacy, the size, this was done in an etheric realm perfectly.
Yeah.
And when it fell, the perfectness fell with it. So
Right.
so all of these symbols that have been holding perfectness through time fell from a different dimension. The pyramids fell. These were all geometric perfections falling. And
Mm.
the reason that they fell is because the stars tied to the earth. And the reason that the stars tied to the earth is because it's as above, so below. So now you've only got to figure out which stars are which. The Orion's belt of Giza pyramids also looks like the swan and the Southern Cross. So, I mean, that spacing and those shapes and sizes, those are all very common. Sacredness is common in the world of God. He only uses Fibonacci and phi and the golden mean, and that's how things work. And but that's because it has to connect to the all and be part of the truth and the permanency system. And if you're not, then you're just swimming in a sea of falsity. And that's why the jewel or the facet, it sits at the very tip of the top, and it shines the light as the bright one right there. And that's where the light emanates. That's where Jupiter gets its wings and the dragon flies. When we have a perfect refraction, a perfect reflection, when we have light coming in and light going out balanced. The whole story in that one book, the crystal light language, whatever. It says the Israel or Jerusalem stands for the struggle to balance the outer light with the inner light. And when you learn
Right.
how to balance the outer light and the inner light, something fucking magical happens at that moment. And that's
Israel.
when you're, yeah, Israel. So the God is El, El, mid El. You know, you want to be where, he sent her because he's going to her, the center. And if you, that's a sinner. They've made sinners bad. Centaur, look at that word. It's got AU in it for gold in the center, with centaur. And that's the half man with the beast lower nature. That's showing you the female is the whole lower nature, the system of two. You've got a couple legs down there. You've got the sex glands, the six. That's the bottom triangle coming in. Five is the pyramid. That's the father. That's the sky. When you've got the four going up into the sky above the four as this, because the five, anytime you have an odd number, you're in the center. So, the father's probably really it's a he she right there. That's what it is. It's the transparent. It's one, it's not, notice it's not transparent. It's transparent. It's clear. It's see through. So it's got one parent, and then you've got parents. And they rent from Pa. That's not Pa. Transparent is how you got here. It's got trans in it. That's your transportation. It's one parent and it's got two sexes in it. That's an androgynous, parentless being. That's your creator. And that's who we should be thanking every single breath for this entire system that was given in love and not of logic and necessity. They want to tell you it was a big bang so they can throw logic and reason and Jupiter in there as the king. That's not how it happened. It happened with the turn. It happened even before Saturn, but the turn gives the entire system the field. If you didn't have the turn, you'd just have a dead rod sitting in the sea. You'd have Bob bobbing up and down without well, Bob wouldn't be bobbing because there wouldn't be a sea. So,
Right.
I mean, you need that turn is what creates the whole entire thing. It's a pole dancer. I mean, it really is. It's you're
Yeah.
swinging around the pole, one hand on the pole, and then your right hand's on the pole, your left hand's out in the air. You're being curious, touching shit, picking
You
up stuff,
you
eating
definitely gotta
shit.
watch that movie. Check that movie out if you got some time.
I will.
Night of
That's
Cups.
Night of Cup.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's
that
pretty cool.
sounds freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It looks
Um.
pretty. It looked pretty artsy and mysterious. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. It is. It's not like traditional movies. Terrence Malick usually does that. A lot of his movies they're deeper. They're not like an
Yeah,
action movie.
which is good. I mean, you got to use your noggin. So I mean, that's how it should be. I mean, I hate
Yeah.
movies that are predictable. It kind of bugs me.
It's interesting because these days, well, I watched a show the other day, but I realized like once they started going with the basic story, I'm just like, well, I don't.
Right.
It's like I don't know why people want to keep hearing the same stories. Like I just skip through it. I'm like, all right, just show me the stuff I don't know.
Right, right. I'm
Yeah,
after that too. I mean, it's the different stuff that we're really looking for that finishes the coloring. If you look at the word different, it's got dye for rent,
right.
and dye is color, but dye is death. So when it's in living color, right? So you've got, and it's not dye five rent, it's dye four rent. So you're renting a four. The four, you are the four, and you have an aspect of three, an aspect of the Trinity. So, as the four, you're sitting at the north position, okay, which the true north position is going to be the metal, okay, the pole in the bottom of the chart. And they flip everything, so they show Cancer as the father up top in the sky, but it's all flipped and inside out. So I really like the 1, 2, 3, 4 Aries to Cancer right down at the bottom of the chart, the fourth house sitting right down at the bottom, and the north raising up as the metal raises up in the center. The mountain grows. Okay, it's an anode collecting silver from the moon. Anyways, you've got, and it's gold. It's the gold. It's the silver attracting to the gold. If we didn't have this whole rock of gold in our heart, because we have a golden heart. I mean, if you think about this system, what are you? if we are on Earth, if we are in the heart, what are you supposed to do with the heart? You're supposed to think with your heart, which is thinking compassionately, not having, lustful thoughts, desirous thoughts, covetous thoughts, envious thoughts. That's all dirty use of your brain. If you use your heart, you're using your if you use your heart to think, you're using your entire system differently. Your thinking does not now stem through your brain. Your brain is a tool for your heart.
I want
So
to.
your entire field, like, how they say the magnetic field of the heart is like 1,000 times larger than that of the brain.
Hmm.
If you hook that's the earth or the heart, that's where we are. That's where your action, that's where the Trinity operates from. Okay, so your physical action, your thinking and your feeling, all three of those things line up to give you this reality here as the fourth or the force. So may the force be with you. And that date's coming up, and that May is a special time. That's where the May core is.
You know
The
what's
make it. If
interesting
you're
though,
making something, you've got to start with May.
right?
Gemini right there.
Oh, that's
But go
me.
ahead, bud.
uh,
Yeah.
so if you guys aren't aware, there's a really great astrologer and spiritual teacher. Goes by Flight Boss, aka Archangel Uriel. But I like
Uh-huh.
his term. He's talking about we're talking about the heart making decisions, but his philosophy, and I really resonate with this because he basically made words for stuff because I can feel and sense it and see stuff, but it's hard for me to make words
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it. But he
Yeah.
talks
If you got
about
something
your
better, I want in on it.
well, his idea is it's your chakras. Each of them is a decision maker. So like your gut feeling is just as important as your head feeling, and just as important as your heart feeling. And
Oh,
we
I
make
like that.
yeah, and even like you could say your root chakra. Sometimes you got to get laid. So and if you don't ever practice lust or you don't procreate, you know what I mean, like, so that chakra also makes decisions, and then your
Right.
throat chakra makes decisions, just, and all of these is you're
That's the
always.
preservation survival chakra down there. Like if we didn't have that root preservation, that root survival, the whole thing stems from it's a spearhead in the ground. Your spine, your sacrum down there is a arrow in the dirt, in the
Yeah.
manure. Is your shit better stink. Let me tell you what. Because nothing grows if it doesn't stink. You want a little bit of shit. Don't have a huge ego. Be humble. Know that you have so much work to do. And that's should be our constant position in the heart, is a
Yeah.
humble heart.
Right.
Not a proud, I've already been there, done that heart, I have nothing to learn. You want to always stay open, and you always want to be like the child, right? You will not enter the kingdom of heaven unless you be like little children. What does that mean? That tells you need to be curious and wondrous and creative like a little child, and you need to go explore in order to see. You can't expect new things to appear out of the same mundane things. The same mundane things are your habit system, your circles and your cycles.
Yep.
Those are for growth and building your crystals. Crystals take a long time to circle around to get another little bit in diameter. And the bigger you grow your crystal, the more that you have put the work in to clear your things out and to get rid of the impurities. The more perfect your cup is to hold the light so that you can see clear. And the bigger we've talked about, the bigger the crystal gets. I don't know if that was on the last episode. Yeah, it might have been. I'll tell people real quick. So
Hmm.
I think I figured out how time through time, we've shrunk, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right?
Hmm.
So it's the crystal. We're in a crystal ball. Okay, so we were made in His image. Okay, so we're an image, in His image. We're inside of His image. So if you think about if you think about light, and we're light beings, we're inside of a crystal ball, we're being focused here. So in the beginning, when the crystal ball was not that big, the entire crystal ball was pretty much filled with the image. Okay, and this created a very large beings in this system right here. And if you go to the center of this system, that's where you'll find the largest just petrified fossils. That's because it all stemmed from that center. I believe Kentucky, the Appalachian Mountains, I believe no matter which way the magnetic north faces, that this area is for some reason a center, like a hinge or a pinpoint or a Lagrange point. And I think there's another one out in the Turkey region. Anything that has key in it, you put the key in the door, you open Pandora's box, out come all these surprises. So I mean, we've got massive cave systems under the whole entire Ohio Valley. This could very well be the entrance to the third ventricle of the brain, inside to the inner chambers. So I'm not sure. It's a neat system to figure out, to tell you the truth. I really like Idaho as well as the head. So I mean, it's a neat. It's we're still working on all that. But anyway, so the crystal ball, as the crystal ball gets bigger, and if you think of quartz crystal growing, and the densest material, the diamond, the thing that is neutral, and it's built out of neutral carbon or something, or some kind of neutral thing that's not subject to oxidation or something. It doesn't, the Taurus, it doesn't fuck it up, right? It lets it stay there, so it keeps holding the image as it grows, as it accumulates diameter, this crystal ball that we live in. Okay, so when you look up during the day and you see the sun, that is where the crystal ball, so the sun and the moon, that would be the Y side, the double side of the Y. The black sun, your spine, is the single side that stacks things up and down. The sun and during the day and the moon during the night are the moon is that black and white form system, and the sun colors it. Okay, so you've got the form and the color of the original life essence popping out. It's just, think of the letter Y, the one going into two. So we're in a crystal ball, the one going into the two. And so you've got two paths coming up. You can either go towards the sun or the moon to complete the circuit. That's directly how you're going to leave here. And it's really not like you just choose one way or the other. All your sleep, your night, all the time you spent in dreamland, you're going to send that portion to the moon. All your waking experience, you're going to send that portion to the sun. All of your action and all of your physical doing and your strength, you're going to send that to Mars. All your energetic leadership shit, all your love, compassion, your quality, your fucking metals, and just all your belongings, your Venus, your permanency. And it's just, you're going to send things everywhere. So I mean, it's not like you go to heaven or hell. I mean, that's what we make here, and we know that. um
Right.
but anyways, as this crystal ball, as it gets bigger, the image gets smaller. Okay, so the image gets more precise, and it gets focused smaller into the center of what was once a larger image. So the reason we have 27, 36-foot Egyptian beings, and statues and shit, is because we really had tall ass people walking around, because we were living in a smaller crystal ball. Our
Dude.
shit though wasn't very defined. It was loose pixels. We're getting into crisp, clear pixelation, but a tight spot to work with. Your Pisces is world consciousness. You're broken down the smallest. Pisces equals pieces. I mean, we're in little fractalized pieces, and our crystal ball, we've just grown really large. And we've got a lot of impurities. It's like a giant shitty crystal ball you can find on eBay for $20 that's cloudy, and it's got some shit in it over here, and it's got a crack.
I just
I
posted
mean, you
one
know
in the
what?
chat. Well, my
It's still
mom's.
I was just gonna say, it's still mom. And you just talked about your mom's.
Right?
That's nuts,
I just
dude.
posted
But
the ball.
it's our baby. It's still our baby. So I mean, it's okay. And the beautiful thing, when you've got the cracked, cloudy one with some impurities, and it's got a crack, that's the real special one right there. That's the one that's been through it all. I
Hmm.
mean, you've got some serious power in something that goes through the all, and it comes out the other side just as pure as when it went in, but with experience now. So to go through, how do you know when you're sitting in godly heaven in this perfect divineness where there's no free choice? You're literally just sitting in perfectness, right? And then how do you know what you would be down here? I mean, it's almost like a test to see what you're really made of. So when you dawn, when your seed is born here and it blossoms and it comes to have fruit on it, you can see, where like they said, the wheat gets separated, from the chaff, from the shit that's common everywhere. I mean, the rose, it pops up surrounded by thorns. I mean, to get to that top, to be the king of the shit mountain, you got to climb through all the shit. I mean, it's very much, and you have to use the shit. That's what stuff grows in. So, I mean, it's necessary. So, it's a growth system. That's why stuff grows in shit. The whole purpose of it is to get through the pain, get through the birthing pain period. We're still in the birthing pain. People, I mean, I'm pretty sure we just came out of a reset and we're a couple hundred years in, and it's a battle to get a hold of this system. It's trying to stabilize. There's a spiritual battle that is big time going on. This system is deeply watched over, and this seed is choosing which way it's going to pop and grow towards. So,
Yeah,
I,
it's
mean, I
funny.
think we're going to get, I really think we're going to get a new world tree. When you get a world tree, you get world dragons. I mean, this whole place is going to pop alive if we truly get off our repeater pattern of doing this time loop that we're stuck on. When we show the crystal that we've worked the impurities and we're ready to graduate, then what we have planned is gonna be birthed, and
Right.
everybody here has contributed. The whole entire system of light is the blueprint right now arranging itself. When you look around and you see a house and a truck and grass and hills and mountains, this is all light as part of an image. The reason it blocks you and it feels real is because it's all the same dimension. You can't go through things in the same dimension. I hate it. It acts as a wall. So I mean, the whole purpose of the system of walls is to keep things on the same playing field, the same plane. So it doesn't matter what it's everything is gonna, no matter which dimension you go in, as long as everything's in that dimension, they're all gonna run into each other. So that's how obviously you can have different multiple dimensions existing at the same point of space. Space is a space holder, period. Everything is overlaid in that space. I mean, you can use space very incredibly, very magically. That's pretty much, my partner is almost an example of it. She's the ace of spades, which is ace in space, and she's
Mm,
born 211. And it's
nice.
hopefully time. And if we're time space, then you get some loo and you can see some shit. So,
Right.
and then
Interesting.
you're visible. You take the in out, and the innie becomes an outie, and it's a true visible. You see Taurus, you see the real bull, like the real, because Earth itself is opposite of water, and the water. If you think of what water is, it's wet. Okay, water means moist. Water means wet, and then the opposite would be dry. Would be Earth. The driest thing on Earth is ash. This is the world tree. The earth, the ash, the magma, the volcanoes, the world tree, the ash tree. It all began with the ash tree in the Bok Saga. That's because it's a fucking volcano spewing up magma and everything grows in it. I mean, here's one of my biggest things in esoteric that pisses me off is when we get into like sagas and stories, and they want to be all cryptic and they want to give you the story, but no, and they want to act like they know the whole entire story everywhere, but nobody wants to take the time to just a couple sentences to explain what this or that means. And I mean, it's really frustrating to, here's the thing, if you have access to direct knowledge, that intuitive stuff that just hits you like a fucking brick wall, if you're living in that dimension and you're playing there and it's something to share. It's something to give to the people. It's not there for you to go off into the corner and to shine and polish and to keep for yourself.
Right.
It's just not
Like
how that
Gollum.
world works at all, and it's frustrating to see it being used that way in secret cults. I
Yeah.
mean, it's that's all. It's just frustrating. It's there for And that's why I really feel like it just dumps through me because I don't hold back. I let whatever's in there that needs to come out. And there's literally, I'm gonna stop nothing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not, I'm not in a position as the physical being, sitting in the body with kneecaps, heels, and it's it's something larger's choice. It's something bigger than you see with your five senses. So, um, why fight it? I mean, why try to pretend that the 3% of reality of light, that you see with your eyeballs, why try to think that the other 97% doesn't matter? Like, why let them tell you it's junk DNA? That's
Right.
that's so silly. I mean, how perfectly do you feel when you're doing, obviously, if you only put Cheetos and donuts and stuff through your mouth, you're not going to feel that great. Or, I mean, I'm just saying, like, you get out what you put in. So you can't sit there and be like, well, I don't feel good. Well, it could be an inner attitude. It could be a number of things. Your system that you're operating with, it's a lot of people want to check off one category and look for Christ. I mean, the whole system is the Christ. The
Mm-hmm.
whole body grows on the Spirit.
Ooh.
Christ said, "You are the branch, I am the vine." The vine climbs the branch, it covers it, the skin, the body, the organs. It all grows on you according to you. You're the
Mm-hmm.
recipe maker. You're the one saying we need flour over here, salt over there. And that's why they try to get us away from talking to our bodies and communicating directly with our own cells. Every single cell is listening to you in your body. You can guarantee that.
Well, that
Every
goes along
single
with
cell.
what I was saying with Florence Scovel Shin. Like, you be careful with your words, and it's more than just like words are just a lower dimensional thing too. So even your
Right.
sequence of words, your tonality. So whenever you're saying anything, and it's important too because let's say if you're outputting words that are difficult or whatever, or tend to be negative or something like that, like you're gonna get that. Not only does someone eat those words, they input those words, right? So like they're
Right.
inputting your negativity, or maybe you don't understand the tonality or your sequence correctly. And this is this is a huge problem, I think, with the, especially you see with like digital communication, where context is non-existent for like text messaging and emails. You
Right.
don't have the important asset or the important part of communication, which a lot of it is tonality and your presence and your state of being. And um yeah, I mean,
It
that's
is.
super
It's a
important.
marriage of all your systems combining to give you one output. I mean, that's how beautiful, like you were saying, all the chakras come together. They all make choices, right? I mean, they're all
Mm-hmm.
going to join up to give you one product. I mean, wouldn't it be, it could give you two products, right? We could have a body and a soul, or a spirit and a soul.
It's going to
I
give you a
really,
spectrum of things to work with.
it
It's
will.
always
I
a
mean, and
spectrum.
really, that's just one of your layers. Your system of two
Right.
stems from your system of one. I mean, you've got, I mean, a pretty much, you've got makeups and beingness on all of the entire things, all the way up to the top and all the way down to the bottom. And if you didn't, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't
Right.
to be a circuit to show up and that shows you that you can go anywhere you want in your circuit. You're just happen to be focused here. And this system, when you came into this system, when you said yes to Saturn, when you looked into Saturn's eyes at some point in your existence and Saturn absorbed you and you went inside and discovered energy, the
What's
letter
up,
G is the
Saturn?
seventh letter. Saturn's, supposed to be the seventh. It's a Medusa. So it turns you to stone. You looked in the eyes, you got sent to Saturn's ringland, Saturn's concentric circle systems. And that's why Saturn is like a cork or buoyant. So it presses everything. It gives you an inner and an outer. And it gives you annular space, a vacuum pressure in the middle, which is probably the entire idea behind like a true sea, or a true, like a current sea, like an ocean.
Mm.
If you think of the old pressure systems, the way they had, all these. Imagine if we were etheric beings living in an etheric realm, and these buildings, all these old Tartaria buildings, they all had they were all run on pressure, like steam and then condensation. So, in order to either heat or cool, and it would take massive amounts of pressure in order to provide the correct, you know, pressure for city blocks. And then it powered, these things were also set up in like a computer grid. So you've almost got like a steam powered computer system. And if we think of water being able to store information, water is a very good absorber of sound. If you think of, like I said, whales talking vast distances, thousands of miles apart, they can hear each other, some crazy shit like that. I mean,
Yeah.
sound and water, it's a good carrier. So that's why we're mostly water beings and sound beings. Um, and then the next step up would be into the gases, right? Out of the water rises the gases, and you've got the noble gases, which is probably what the planets are. The planets are probably showing you the sine wave. There, if you take each planet and you break it down, it's probably showing you a different part of the wave, and it's showing you how a sine wave behaves. And you're the particle absorbing the sine waves. And this is really the story behind duality, is the particle and the wave. And it's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
I think
The whole levitation, or like floating, we're floating on a cosmic wave. That really, I mean, that's truly what we're doing.
yeah, I feel that. Hey, so you sent a bunch of pictures this morning. You want to talk about anything specifically? I have a squirrel
Yeah,
up. I
yeah.
have a squirrel on the
Dude.
screen right now.
All right, so we got Theo.
How's he
He's
doing?
yeah, blind squirrel. He's doing awesome, man. Well, I think yeah, he bit Amy. We
Oh
had a
no.
squirrel incident. Yeah, he bit her pretty good. We put a lot of alcohol and peroxide on it and whatnot. But it's just so everybody know, he's blind. And when it happened, it was weird. It was like a cosmic event, because I was downstairs, and I normally take Theo. He eats a lot of food. Like, he puts down all vegetables you give him, anything you pretty much give him. I found out that blind squirrels are not picky. They'll eat anything. But my squirrel that can see, Charlie, for a couple of years, he's picky as fuck. If it's not a hazelnut, he don't want to mess with it. I mean, that's pretty much it. I got to starve him out a couple of days on
Spoiled.
hazelnuts, and then you know, give him some real food or something. I don't know. But anyways, so Theo, she was reaching her hand in, and Theo was smelling around on her quite a bit, trying to get in her cast, and then got a hold of her finger, but bit and wouldn't let go, like just
Oh,
clenched down, and she had to like kind of like hit his head a little bit to
yeah.
get him to let go, and he was like attached.
Dang.
And yeah, so I think what we came to conclude here was that be careful when you're, playing with nature. And
Gloves.
definitely blind nature that's hungry in the morning. And so we came to conclude that he thought that her finger was food. And because he loves tomatoes, and tomatoes have that you got to pierce them. So he thought he was piercing a tomato, and he didn't want to let go.
Hmm.
So it was pretty. I was working down in the garage, and then I thought she was coming down with some food or something. I was like, sweet, something coming down. And then I saw like she's about in tears. It's like, oh shit, what happened? And Theo bit me. And I was like, oh no. But that was about a week and a half ago, and Amy's pet him a few times. She's real kind of obviously scared to kind of open the cage, and because she doesn't want to have to pick him up if because he likes to just, he's blind, so he likes to get himself in crevices and jam himself in there because he can't see, and that's his only protection, is to know
Get some
something's all
gloves.
around his body. Yeah.
You gotta get some
Well, I mean,
nice
we got
gloves.
gloves.
Yeah.
But I mean, right after it happened, I went and picked Theo up, and I mean, I've been holding him steady for a couple weeks, just letting him run all over me, kissing him. He's real sweet, and I really just think he was thought she was food,
Yeah.
and she's obviously really scared now on that, and she's kind of coming back to him, and I've just been giving him a lot more food and keeping him a lot more veggies in there so he doesn't get so hungry. But man, this thing can put down like some serious stuff. Like I'm talking Brussels sprouts, carrots, tomatoes. I
Wow.
mean, tons of different lettuces, like sugar snap peas. I mean, anything I stick in there, all the nuts. Yeah, man, and he tears it apart, and he doesn't grow. He just stays the same Theo size. He's grown a little bit, but
That's fun.
yeah, man. Anyways, so that's in his favorite right now is pretty much cucumbers and tomatoes, like those English ones, those long ones. Freaking loves them, and it's 11:10, so that's 311s. So happy 311s, and then we might catch it here in a second. Go to 11:11, and then we'll get 411s, and 311s plus 411s is 711, and then we're always open. And let's see here. So what? Tell me what picture you got next. I can't see nothing, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have I assume it's the natal chart for today. It says now, and then it's got a
Uh,
clock. It looks like
oh yeah. Yep.
Sun in
Okay, I'm looking at
Aries,
that.
Moon in
So I
Gemini.
got this little. Yep, this is the sun, moon, and the ascendant. So, the yellow's the sun, the red's the ascendant, silver's the moon. Yellow's the gold, and us is the red, right? I was talking about that earlier. So you can see that long line is the infrared wave coming, tap you on the ass, give you some blood. And then the yellow and the moon, they pull you off into duality right there. See how they're spreading you apart? That's pretty much how it works. And check this out. I just want to let people know 11/11, by the way, happy 11/11. And it's always 11/11 somewhere in the world, right? It's right here, right now. So we've got Sun in Aries. This is sidereal. If you're pulling up a tropical chart, you're not going to see it like this. It's going to be 27 degrees off. Um,
Sun will be in Taurus.
it matters, people. When you ask somebody what time it is, the that person should reply from what center. Time revolves around a center, and depending upon what center you're talking about, is going to depend upon what time it is. So, unless you're standing on the sun right now with your physical body, then I wouldn't use tropical astrology in every single situation. If you want to know what something is, use the sun. Done. End of story. If you want to know why, how, where, and all these other Earth questions, come right here.
Ask me.
What? Just think of what and Watt. WATT. Watts in the box. That's from JC right there. We've got pretty much that's your electricity, right? Your what? And your W hat, right? Your fucking W hat, your all your woman hat. Everything you can see in this system came from a woman. Everything came right out of the woman. That's how it works here. There's not one thing here, even down to the dish towel, that didn't come out of a woman. Nothing. Everything you're looking at, this has all got W hats on. Everything. Because it's all visible under the sun. And if you went away from this, it's not the real sun, but we're going to call it the sun so we don't confuse people. This is Lou, right? During the daytime. This is the left. You don't want to go towards the left. You want to cast your net to the right, like Christ told you to do. And when the disciples listened to Christ and they cast their net on the right side of the boat, woe and behold, they arose 72 fish. Oh, no shit. Well, that's a 9, folks. Cast it to the right. So the right's going to be your moon in the end. Mono, 1. The moon is where all your hidden secret knowledge is at. Okay, the sun is where they keep all the debt slaves under. It's a big fucking. Honestly, you want to be right in the middle in the end. So, but if you got to fuck around, go to the right and just go clockwise. I mean, look at what the planets are doing. They're all going clockwise. Did you want to be like the sine wave out there if you're going to be in sine wave land? Tell you that. You don't want to be like something that's not a sine wave. So Let me
Straight
see here.
line.
So, anyways, so I wanted to tell people that millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. Okay. So they know they use this shit. Okay. Everybody knows right now that studies the stars that gold's gonna go up because the sun's in Aries. So lo and behold, 3-4 days back, since we're in the fourth degree of Aries right now, it's been 4 solid days of gold going up through the roof. And silver and all the metals because it's fucking metal season. Because the sun and the moon, they're going to be fucking around with Taurus and Aries. It's the sun exalts. The sun is gold. The sun, everything exalts and hits the tip of its mountain in one certain area, and the sun does that in Aries. So that's showing you that the sun represents gold. It's going to have a lot of crazy growth right now. It's because the stars are dictating it, and you're going to see it for another 26 days, okay? Because there's still 26 more degrees or so to go. And then after that, like I said, you're in metal season. So you've got 6 months of solid metals right now. And watch what happens to silver. The silver line right there, you can see the moon's in Gemini right now. Well, as soon as the moon hits Cancer, where the moon rules, you're probably going to see silver do okay. It's probably not going to go down. So it's not a good time to buy it because it's going to be at a high price. So you'd want to wait to maybe the opposite of Cancer, like Capricorn, where the moon's not ruling, or you could do Scorpio, where the moon is debilitated. Because if we look at the moon, it exalts in Taurus, and that's coming up, folks. So the moon in Taurus and then the moon in Cancer, those are both periods of strong silver time. So if you've got a bunch of silver and you wanted to sell it for debt slave fiat dollars, which I have no idea why you would trade some kind of metal that's hard to get to, way down in the earth, that you need to have $100,000 pieces of equipment in order to get a freaking decent supply to melt down into a coin that they stopped doing in 1964. So, I mean, and if you think of this entire system, we are the gold. We attract in the silver. We've gone over that. The slivers that come in, the silver that comes in, that's the rare stuff right there that's going for 25, 26 bucks an ounce right now. You probably get it for about 30, 35 on eBay if you were going to go buy an actual 1 ounce coin. They make you pay more if it's a real physical coin in your hand that they're going to, then you got shipping. So, I mean, you're lucky to get out of it under 40 bucks for an ounce of physical silver right now. But if you go on the internet, it's going to tell you about 26. That's the pawn shop price, which they'll go even lower than. So they'll probably give you like maybe 20, maybe 15 because they want to make some money too, but they're going to turn around and sell it for like 38 probably. Anyways, so I wanted to show, and if you look at the news today, there's a Bitcoin article I put up. Bitcoin drops 15%.
Yeah,
Folks,
I
I mean,
watched that
it's
this morning.
yeah, I mean, that's a giant Ponzi scheme. I'm sorry. If you've made some money in Bitcoin, sell that shit and buy a bottle of champagne because good job.
We'll see.
But
We'll
just
see.
seriously, don't think it's gonna go to 100,000, $1 million in 10, 20 years and put all your eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
It very well could. I'm not saying there's not a timeline that doesn't exist where that happens, and absolutely, but I really hope that point 0.0001 point whatever percent chance. Yeah, there might be 2 points in there. I hope I'm just not part of that world or in it or what have you. And I mean, it's so retarded. It's just like the dollar idea on even more crack. Now we're pretty much gonna sell you some math. That's like selling you math. Blockchain is selling you a piece of a math formula, that's essentially yours, and nobody else can have it, and that's weird. Um,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't I
got
don't
some
know, and it's
issues,
got
but it's
bits.
got
Like,
some ideas that are good though. I mean,
why would they
the
call it
accountability of
Bitcoin?
it is useful, but it's a question
Right,
of
right,
like long
right,
term, like because we don't have the keys to the power grids, so as long as we don't have
right.
the
Or
keys to
the
the power,
blockchain.
Yeah, which is all based on the power grid. So until we have
It is, yeah.
open access to the power grid, because they say that, and I've talked to a
That's neat.
sysadmin IT guy, and he told me that the power energy is supposedly the power, the way it does the energy thing. They're like, everyone's like, oh, it uses all this energy. It's like, well, even
Maybe
so,
that's why energy's going up. Everybody's power bills have been going through the roof, man.
I don't
Mine
know.
included, like
Yeah, I don't.
insane amount.
I mean, to me, all of that. I mean, I don't believe in like a limited amount of energy, like at all. Like I believe
Me neither. Me
it's
neither.
obviously infinite. So, like when people say shit like that, it's like, all right, fine. But in my opinion, the cool thing about the not specifically Bitcoin, but the other ones that have like shit you can program into it. It's like we could force people that think, like governments or whatever. If you force them to use
Right.
that, it's like now they can't lose trillions of dollars and be like, hey, where's the money? And they were
Right.
like,
Which
oh,
they
we
did
don't
on the
have to
day
tell
before
you.
9/11.
Right, yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like, so, how are we supposed to be held accountable, like, when we don't have any way of holding you accountable? And this is a way of holding you accountable, and you don't have middlemen. So, like, it
Right.
is digital and it is weird, but, like, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
I've been watching it for
I
a
think
long
when they
time, and it
I think
seems
that
good.
I think they knew what was happening back. I mean, if you look at the gold acts they've done, if you
Hmm.
look at what has happened in the world of metal, period, it's almost like they need it now for their industry, so they need to keep it low so they can keep getting it for industry. And
Maybe.
the second that change it, because that's why they can't have it all tied up in the money structure, because this world, this digital thing that they're building is on probably on the back of silver. Silver's got a 97 point something percent thermal conductivity rate. It's the only one out there. So I mean, they're the real moon. Like there's a lot of stuff out there on our moon being fake, and there being, an original moon in our system. And I think it's tied to the real silver versus the iron Mars story that we're going through, probably. I mean, this moon
Hmm.
right here could very well be some fog on the glass, in terms of some kind of iron system. That how on the Smoky God, you've essentially got Mars looping our planet, going inside and out, and giving us night, pretty much the nighttime when he's on the outside. And that whole entire, and that's why he would exalt down in Capricorn when we're at our darkest time. So that's his gift, is the night, and that's what shields you, which would connect to the Knight of Cups, because it's the same
Yeah.
sound. And the night, if you look at the night, night's the hero, right? Just like Mars, and that's his story from Aries to Scorpio right there. He's triumphantly, going through the battle of the North. He's building stuff. He's building stuff. He's tearing it down. And when you tear it down, that's not a bad thing in the fall. That's the stripping into purity. So you're going to take the impurities out as you approach Virgo. And as you hit Virgo, you should be at about the fall. And you should be going under the water into Scorpio pretty soon, right after the balance, right when you're on the shore of Libra. So, if you look at, they've got Pisces on one side, mutable water. They've got fixed water, Scorpio, on the other side. So you're definitely going into the water every time on fixed water. And then mutable water, you're coming out of the water in Pisces as you do the air again with Aries. And then you go up into the air. So we're right now, as we sit here on April 19th, is that it? April
18.
18th,
18.
which is a nine. Anyways, we're in the north, officially. We're 4 or 5 degrees Aries sidereally, so we have officially sidereally, as this is our center, hit the real spring. So that's why we're about to hit the 10 days coming up, labeled the double Venus period, where Venus is the first star, at night you'll see in the sky. And I think it's actually starts tomorrow, or the next day. And then the at nighttime it's the first one to appear. Yeah, and then in the morning it's the last one to go away. So it's a double Venus period, and I think it marks the top of the mountain, the cosmic mountain. And as we approach the right side of the mountain, which is what east of Tor it means, you're east of the Tor. So you're on the right side of the mountain. So we were climbing the mountain. It started all the way back in Capricorn, and then we started our journey as the mountain goat going up, and then we've got all the way to the, you start from that lead, and you're going to go up to gold. You're going to go up to the Passover, and as you pass over that peak, the white lamb is that snow cap up top. And now you're going to go down into the side where the sun's facing you. The sun rises. You've got all the little nature trickling down the mountain. All the trees grow from the fresh water that goes down. And this is life itself, because life couldn't live off the salt water. You've got to go through the distillation process of Pisces, and you've got to get dropped off on top of the mountain for fresh water and remove the salt. So it's a beautiful system, and we are in the air. So the next 6 months, when you're in the north, remember, it's a flip flop inside out system. So if the north equals the mountain, you're part of the father. You're on the right side of the mountain, where it's your it's your growth. This whole entire system is celebrative of the north, because the north represents the particle in the wave. Okay, so we call this place sidereally our center, our earth, our heart, and it's our particle. So the most northern point is our most center point. So that's where the sun, what we call the sun, it goes around, right? So it goes around that point. When that point changes, it changes the entire system. That's it, and this it rides a quarter horse. So when it does, it has a 90-degree shift, which is why you're seeing the magnetic north travel all the way out towards northern China and Mongolia and shit right now. And you're going to see some neat stuff happen. We're going to have to adjust our pattern. And that goes back to, no matter where that thing adjusts, there's a central center of the cross where Christ died at, where the crystal's at. So there's a hinged point there, and hinge has high in it, and it's got engine in it pretty much. So Indianapolis is right above me, Indiana's right above me. um, it's all Arkansas. The diamond fields are right below me. I mean, it's the quartz, the limestone they built America with, all the Tartaria buildings. It was all quarried pretty much out of Indiana, the most pure limestone in the world. Why would you build all your buildings from limestone? Oh, okay. So limestone probably connects to either the ether or the sky, whatever is passing us by that we're swimming in when we sit on the surface here. We're exposed to some fluid in another dimension that we call air, just as the lobster sits at the bottom of the ocean and calls the fish, and or we could call them birds to him. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
Our birds we call birds could be fish swimming in the ether, and that's how they do it. I mean, so it's they knew all this. This has all been stripped from us. All these thought waves, all this is just probably comes in from lives we lived back then, and that I must have joined in on and accumulated, and that I can release now. And it's probably why we have 5 viewers, and or I don't even know, I can't see anything, or zero, or I mean, it's just they can't afford to really have a lot of this stuff get out there, or their whole entire power structure and their fake grid crashes. When the truth shows up, it destroys all the falsities. So if you let that bitch come out, you goodbye to the entire fake story, because we all know one lie takes another lie to support it, and all these other lies to keep that support up, and that's how the system works. So nah, so that you still got that's the yeah, so that you can use where the sun and the moon are to see what's going on in our system of visible stuff. The sun shows you what's visible, and the moon shows you the form, the true form behind what's visible. So just think of Peter Pan and his shadow, that he tries to catch. That's the moon. He goes out at night into Never Never Land, where you can be like a child and never become an adult. And that's the inner child right there. That is the crystal, the Christ. The clear versus the black versus the white. So go towards the moon. If you do the yellow option, that's going to be a different route. I mean, you're going to have to make an eye choice. The eye is the seat of consciousness, so you're going to have to send that bitch down a path somewhere. I'm not saying choose the moon, but if you were only looking at those two options, I'd probably take the moon. The left is going to put you in the re system back in right here. And if it needs help and you've been called, then you got to do what you got to do. But I mean, it's the left is there's a long story behind the left. The more left you go, the more against the grain you go, the more of a body you accumulate, the more heat, the more you eat, and you'll burn up. It'll just you don't want a lot of extra baggage, I mean, it's when God comes to eat you, there shouldn't be fat to trim. Nowhere. You have a prepared meal. You are a morsel, one mouthful, and yeah, man. I don't know. I don't even know where the hell we're at right now in this part. Sorry.
Nah,
Let's
it's
go to the
okay.
next picture though. Here, what do you got next, man?
Let's see. Looks like you got her now chemical one with the three
With the
birds in
birds.
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Check
whatever
this out.
glass
So
thing.
yeah, the glass is the clear. And what is the clear birth? The black. So you see the black bird down there? Who's attacking the black? The white sitting right on top of it. Black burst the white. And then the white, look what's coming out of the white, the red, right? This is, when you look at these old things, just go right to the colors. I mean, it's going to show you the story. The Crystal, the crystal, the glass elevator, that's right after Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You get the glass elevator, right? You go up. And then, so that glass right there, look at the gold crown sitting around it right there. That's the sun. Okay, what we call the sun. That's the blue. That's the left. You see the opposite side. See the green wreath. That's where you want to be. That's where the real planet is. That's where the real plants are. That's probably on the inside, like that story tells us. We're on the surface, so we're probably on the left side right now. And as you go to the right, that's why the inner Earth story has all the giant trees and just insane beautiful forest and people singing in harmony on ferries that are going around in the ocean, all in three part. I guess that part cracked me up, man. When the first thing they saw was this boat full of thousands of tall beings and this beautiful like
Yeah.
fairy thing, and they were all singing this beautiful song. Like, what a what an experience to like run into a set of alien things. I mean, that would be so awesome. I would just be sitting there like I would be blown away. I mean,
Right.
I
I
don't
mean, they
know.
sounded like
It'd be awesome.
the way it was written. It sounded like they were in awe, And yet his dad was like super courageous about it. He's like, "Well, I guess we have to go with them, pretty much."
Right.
And they just like pick up the boat
Um,
like a little toy.
right.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was nuts. So, and then of course, all around on the same picture right there, you can see outside is the world of color. Okay, so you've got, the red and the blue. See the red and the blue everywhere, Saturn and Jupiter, all the form, that's your form, your generation. But you've got inside right there, you've probably got Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, if I had to guess right there. That's what represents that. And
Inside the
then
vial?
right, right. And then outside, you've got all the blue and the red would be so Uranus would be the white, you'd have Neptune as the red, and you'd have well, yeah, black is Pluto. So and then we've got red outside Saturn, and then blue we've got Jupiter. So blue in all these pictures is probably look at they're going to him, they're going to Jupiter for all the money and for the funds and the wealth. Oh look, they're going to Jupiter for all the rules and decision making, and then we're going to Jupiter for all the religious and expertise. And then look, Jupiter's also in the background riding the white horse out in the background, the memory, long term memory, hence all the philosophical aspects of Jupiter and Sag. And then Jupiter and Sag, and the mutable fire, the red and the blue, that's that's that one sign with the middle finger and the pointer held together, meaning wholeness. The red and the blue together is wholeness, and the red and blue separated is a Jupiter Saturn opposition. When they're every 10 years, or I guess every 20 years, we go through this cycle. So we're approaching. We just hit the conjunction in 2020, and that's why you got COVID and this whole thing we're in. It was all sine wave changes and new things coming. So they labeled it with a bunch of bad shit. So now someone like me can't taste or smell and just labeled. That means I don't need the vax, I guess. So that's good, right? Anyways, let's go to which don't get that obviously, people. If you're anyone listening to this, I'm sure wouldn't not. So we don't have to get into that dumb shit. And then so next we've got yeah. So check this out. You got the horse with Jupiter. See, Jupiter gets off his horse, sets the crown down on Saturn's empire, the red. What is he setting down? He's giving him the gold, the sun. So, but the castle, the body, that's Saturn. That's Saturn's ringland. Jupiter is just the one moving around, giving you all the things. Jupiter, see, he's setting down the gold. Um, it's all he art, in the heart. It's not she art, it's he art. And who reads the who reads the Playgirl, right? It's the girl, or I don't even know how it works. The Playboy is for the boy. Okay, here we go. So pretty much the one with the naked pictures, the men, all the he art, right? All the Chippendales. I mean, the woman. That's for the woman, right? It's for the woman. Okay, so it's showing you right here the he art. This is a collection. This is a giant collection for her. And that's why it's headed to Hercules, which isn't Hercules. It's Hercules. Okay, so that's how you learn about her. The next one, you see the one with the black cloud. Pull that one up, man. This one's great.
Yep.
So we've got right here, we've got a fucking stone storm right here, a straight SS. So I remember too reading in some works. I forgot the particular arrangement, but there is an arrangement when we have some of the outer generative planets lining up in the Pleiades area right around April 11th. So we've passed the date this year, but what that 411 to 413 zone, I think might be when we pass over the Pleiades tropically. Now watch this spot sidereally as well. We have not hit it sidereally, so this sidereally April 11th would be somewhere out in May, like May like 8th or something in there. May 8th. Shit. The Maker 8, May King, May Core, May 8. Well, watch out for getting eaten fucking May 8th. That's sidereally the 411 date that all the bad events have happened on. I say bad in a sense like straight Ragnarok destruction. So something slips through the filters on those dates when we line up to the Pleiades, when we have certain planets in certain positions, okay? It looks like in this particular date, stones fell from the sky, and this was actually fall of 1250. So the opposite of 411 is going to be right around the other spot in the fall, like 10 something. So opposite of Taurus is Scorpio, but in the opposite of Aries is Libra. So this would be that spot, its opposition. So we get stone and matter, and maybe you get water or fire on the other side. All I know is that the Nuremberg event happened there, New Madrid quakes, all that kind of stuff hit. Actually, the New Madrid quakes, I'm sorry, that hit December, January were the bad ones there. So that could be tied to some Capricorn shit over there. So
Hmm.
yeah, hold off on the New Madrid quake. But yeah, I just thought it was neat that okay, you see that we've got the sun, see the sun around the head of one red, so it's showing you Saturn, the sun is in Saturn, okay? And then we've pretty much stones falling and destroying, a forest or a town, and this was in Russia. It says stone doubtful, like a weather report. I think it was maybe this. Okay, and look on the ground. This guy has 3 sticks. That's interesting. the three sticks give you the hex, that pattern to all life, the north, south, east, west, and the up, down. The down is the six or the sex. I forgot to get into that this morning when we were talking about that. The up is the five, the pyramid above the quintessence is where you want to go. The fifth above the four. So four, you're just biting your tail. You're going in a circle down here on the same plane. You want to be going through the planes. It's snakes on a plane. So that's it, I mean, it really is. There's all this media and shit. Like it's all there to like laugh at us. I swear to God.
Yeah.
So the six or the sex is that next triangle coming in, completing the double tetrahedron, the Star of David. That's what it makes. So that's your six or your sex. That makes a hex. If you drew lines around that star, you'd have a hexagon or a six-pointed shape. Six and sex and Jupiter, it's all there. So this looks like it's tied to Saturn a little bit with the red. Saturn's the predictor showing you it's all his system anyways. So and notice the red sky. I thought that was kind of neat there. This could have been the last time when we switched over from red to blue. So I think when we do these red blue shifts, necessarily the you know the it's hard to tell how long or how much time is in between these things. I mean, we're really in the dark. They keep us busy with things like wars, racism, mostly
Genderism.
anything about our
Isms.
desire system. They're really flaunting everything materialism. They're
Ism,
going
ism,
full
ism.
digital now. They're really getting us. I mean, that's really my deep inner. I I don't want to say hatred. It's just such a strong word, but um, and I really love what you do with the digital platform, Todd. So if anything, you've helped me. It's just, I have such a love for analog and for the plants and the trees and the birds and the
So do I,
the
man.
5 cent shit. I'm probably a super deep Lucifer being, which is the Lu, the things you could see, and my name's Peter, and that's connected to Pewter, Jupiter. So I mean, it's all there.
Mm,
Um, I was born though with Saturn on my ascendant in Libra, so I'm probably like a Jupiter being that took a Saturn body. But Saturn on your ascendant would be going up into the sky in the mind, so it's like a Jupiter spirit with a Saturn soul. So I have
mm.
no fucking idea still how to wrap my shit around this, but
Well, we gotta do
um,
some one of our upcoming episodes. We should like break down natal charts like a
we
little bit. That
definitely
would
have
be
to do
interesting.
that.
You know.
We definitely.
Hey, do you want to do not to interrupt, but do you want to do some divination?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I got, so I've got some stuff out with me today. I've got the Crow Tarot. I've got Illuminati card again. Those have been hitting. So I think we've had gun lobby, California, and black activists, and a lot of that we've seen tons of shit on guns, the stuff involving racism. It's like they're trying to reboot the race war, which I think they would never be successful right now, man.
Mm-mm.
People are so past race. I think there's pockets of it, but I think that's all for show. They take
Yeah.
one tiny instance of it and they blow it the fuck up like crazy.
Yo.
So, um, I don't know. I really think I give people the benefit of the doubt that we've grown from all that dumb shit. I mean,
Hey.
seriously, like it takes less DNA to make up your eye color. Or I mean, like no, it's like something like 100 times more DNA to make up the color of your eye than it does the color of your skin. So why don't we judge people on their eye color? And why aren't we racist there? Why do we pick skin? It just seems so dumb and eh,
Yeah.
like
What's
designed for
it's important to
manipulation. Like,
remember.
hey,
Yeah. What's
I
important to
mean,
remember that fucking they're legally allowed to lie to you. It's you can look it up if you follow my Twitter. I posted a link recently. But they legally got it. Like Fox News sued some people that they had fired for not distorting a thing, and then Fox like went back and sued them, and then they won. And their ruling or part of the ruling was that you can use the First Amendment to lie. So it's legally allowed, people. Like they'll tell you anything,
Wow.
anything to distract you. So literally the cure for everything in 2020 and thus far is to turn the TV off. And
Right.
the tech people want that too because it's a transition of people that want to be in power, so to speak. So yeah, but they're allowed to lie to you, people. They're allowed to
I
lie to
know it,
you.
man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's well, yeah. I mean, obviously. So
That's fucked up,
I
man.
just
Is
have
that a crystal ball you got?
yeah, the one I posted in the chat. That's my mom's.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, she's got an old school
Oh,
one.
cool, dude. I'm sorry.
It's like 99.9.
That's great. Hey, people. Oh, really? And I was gonna say, if anybody, if you ever see crystal balls, if you ever see them at, like, I don't know if people go to estate sales often or if you see them on auctions, if you can see that they're original, like they're real and they're old, they're probably natural and not man-made. So and those take long time, like just millions of years to work out the impurities and to become that. So those are very, very, very valuable, like a true rarity. You almost look at like energy in itself is, like you said, boundless and infinite. So why, Bitcoin essentially, and the idea of it, it's not too bad because, energy should be just something, it should just be a use for energy, really.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, though, if you look at what do we value things that are not common. So the rarities of the universe are the rare impurities would be essentially what we're looking for if you collect things. The
Right.
story of Jupiter is he's going around on his ship collecting pretty things for his wife. So he's just traveling in all the different lands, and Jupiter has the deep philosophy, the wisdom to see the true value in things, and he collects the things of true value that people don't understand and they don't know that are valuable. The rarities, the 150-degree angles, the place where you only have a little bit of slip on either way and you end up at a new shape. The ones that, that slip between the cracks that are very different. I mean, that's your rarity. So if you see crystal balls and they're old, and just save them for you and your family, and build a dark box. Build a dark box for it because the clear bursts the black. And with that dark box, if you put yourself into this dark box with the clear crystal, you could see the birthing process from the clear into the black. And if you put yourself in between that, that's how you truly scry and you truly read a crystal ball. You need to put yourself in that environment first, which is a dark black environment, and then you'll be able to see the light transfer.
That's funny because my
So
mom was telling me that I don't. That was kind of the environment I think she was in. She was saying that she just ended up like staring at it, and it was like I don't know if she said she could see anything particular, but she could like feel like she was being told something or
yeah,
feel like she was seeing something. So yeah,
absolutely.
they're very cool.
Yeah, I've got one real nice one that I found, a real large one, like a I think 6 or 7 inch ball. And they found it they bought three of them from an old New Jersey mansion and like an old Tartaria house. And I was like, man, I got to get one of these. I got to find a way because that's got to be something from the old world. And,
Right.
most people have no idea what that is. I've just got to get this for the people, pretty much protect it. And in my opinion, those are the true rarities out there, the real, like the facets or the gems, the jewels, the light bringer is the facet of the tip of the jewel. So the capstone is very much, it's missing because it's a clear capstone.
I have a
It's
piece I
a
made called Lightbringer. I'll have to share it with you.
What do you have? Say that again.
I have a piece of art I made called Lightbringer. I'll have to share it with you.
Okay.
Trying to
I
find.
threw up. That sounds pretty nice. I posted a picture. I did the Illuminati card first this week,
Okay.
and I don't know why I get so excited with the shadow world and how it's fucking with us, but we pulled mutual betrayal. So this is a neat
Uh
card. Um, the picture of the card itself, it shows one person stabbed in the back and they're laying down on the table dead, and the other person is drinking a looks to be a cup of water that might have been poisoned, and they just realized it. So it's almost like they killed somebody and then they went to take a drink because they were thirsty, from killing somebody, of course, because it takes a lot of effort, and they
oh.
realized it was a cup of poison, and now they're both dead. So we might see some kind of cancel out event where the left and the right they just drag each other even further down, right?
That's how
So
Ragnarok
one
ends, dude. That's how the end of Ragnarok goes. Pretty much.
that is, yeah, it's a mutual betrayal. So definitely be on the lookout. I mean, I always say I want these on a week by week basis. Please, universe, let us know what we're looking for. Just, let us know on this 7 days coming up till the next show. Just what to be had. I mean, that is not to say it happens on day 10. And I mean, it's just watch out for it. It says requires action right at the bottom of the card. So this could
Smart.
also be small. This could be energy. If it's on the big stage, it's also on the little stage. So in all your partnerships, your relationships with people, just make sure you're being very honest and open all the time, and just don't be watchful and judgmental, but just be transparent. You know what I'm saying? It's just a good way to protect yourself is to be transparent. It's okay to repeat things back to make sure everybody's on the same page, to be clear in your communication. There's nothing wrong with that, and if you put it in a proper tone, it might even be appreciated. So, just use the skills that you have in speech to present things. I mean, and be clear. That's the only way is when you speak from the heart. You probably don't want a heart made of gold. That's gonna block shit and send it back out. And if you have a clear heart, if you have a heart made of crystal, the crystal, the light's going to come in you, and then it's going to go back out balanced. And that gives you the equilateral triangle. We were talking about the letter A, an angle. You've got the trapezoid, and you've got the equilateral triangle, equal on all sides. That means your trinity is equal. Your thought, your feeling, and your action are all balanced, and that's a good thing as the force. So you can be a real force of balance here. When you have a proper balanced trinity and you go to the right on the equilateral triangle, on that crossbar on the letter A. You go to that left, you're in the trapezoid. A trap is a re-system again and again and again and again. You don't have to start over. You really, really don't have to start over. Every single day that you go to sleep, you go off into your mono, your moon, your one system. So you brought with you a gateway. This by taking a body, you have this is a gateway drug. Your body is a gateway drug. That's why you've got Bill Gates. He wants to bill you at the gate, right? He wants to charge a fee. He wants to do the female thing, the woman thing, make everything material, visible, and seen. But the real father is invisible, inside, the inner child. It's got invisible is unseen. That's crystal clear, folks. That's where you've got balanced light coming in, balanced light going out. Jerusalem, Israel. I mean, I'm not Jewish, but I'll tell you what, I've been thinking about finding a really hardcore Jewish sect around me and just getting into some super Hebrew and, the stars and whatnot. I mean, that's really all I want to fuck around with is how we're going to interpret this Bible as an as above, so below document, as a guidelines to an operating system for this thing we're in called the human body. And it's out there, folks. I mean, it's just because it's called a church, it doesn't make it necessarily a bad thing. You could find some beautiful relationships there, some things you're really missing out on, some really good fellowship. I haven't been to a church in probably a good, well, 6 years. I went popped in on some one out in the country in Eastern Kentucky, and I have found I had a really hard time biting my tongue. Like I did bite my tongue the whole time, and I was nice and just went there for the fellowship. And I really wanted to help people, though. I feel like I would destroy a church if I went there. I would, excuse me, sir, could I just say something on that? Or, it would be kind of, let me, I mean, I don't know. It would be a little rough there. So I'd
Right.
probably just start people off with the book of Job. And, the book of Job's awesome. One of the oldest documents on earth. I mean, it's got, quotes in there like, can you guide Arcturus and his sons? So, I mean, you can
Hmm.
pretty much just go to the book of Job, and if you can graduate from that book and come to an understanding of what's being asked of you as a human, what you're working with, and what your mission is, then the rest of the Bible will be very easy for you. It's very much, they put it out there, not at the beginning, probably on purpose to throw you off. I mean, it goes back to the I Ching days, back into China. The story of Job is probably the oldest story on earth, that and the flood story. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, man. It's got, so can you guide Arcturus and his sons? Can you loosen the belt of Orion and bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades? I mean, that's showing you so much in those lines.
Yeah.
That's showing you there's different concentric circles of fixed stars around you. So whatever the belt of Orion is, notice that's on the equator, on the belt. That's, he sits right there hovering up and down below it. You can see it in all parts of the earth because it sits on the belt and the girdle on the facet part right on the tip. And I mean, it's a it's visible. Okay, the invisible is probably your poles. They go dark certain times of the year, for over 24 hours, and it's your caps, it's your end, it's where you don't have it's where the visible things stop and you go out into the invisible. So into the black. Into the black is a very special thing, and I think that we've equipped ourselves as humans in this system to do it, and I think it's very possible. But I think we discover something different when we try. I think we wrap around into the inner earth, and we don't know where we are. It's so vast that you can go around like a shell or a bar magnet. It's probably like a bar magnet.
Hmm.
It's probably a broken bar magnet, two back-to-back J's, like the Facebook symbol upside down. And it's probably a broken bar magnet is what it is, a cracked bar magnet. And a cracked bar magnet would make a couple J's right there. And if you did some fuckery with the other J, instead of having two J's, you could easily have a JC. You could get a good Christ story out of that. Um, and
Smoke a
pretty
jet.
much because stuff's looping around us, like things go around us, and that means our inside, it would be potentially penetrated if we don't understand what our inside is. Like I
Hmm.
mean,
Keep your shields
look at an
up.
apple core. The way the toral field goes up, it's like an X in the middle, and that's the toral field. It has a pinch point in the center, and it gives you, and that's all stemming from a particle, really. The whole entire system of light is stemming from a particle somewhere underneath what we call our feet, and that could be up for all we know. It probably is up certain parts of the day and is down at certain parts of the day. I mean, or we're not moving. I have no idea anymore. I mean, I really don't. The only thing I believe in is that it's infinite. So no matter
Hmm.
what dimension you want to talk to me about, it's infinite. All of them, physical
Yeah.
dimension included.
Yep.
It
Yep.
goes on and on and on and on and on. There is no end. It's boundless. You put a wall up and I'll show you a God that can break down the wall. And it keeps going. And that's how it works. It's boundless. That's why you can't name it and you can't talk about it. Um, so let's get in. So
But
we've
you can
that's
express
our
the
first
energy. That's the
divinatory.
closest you can do. Seems like you
Right,
can get close to the
right.
energy, and if it resonates with you, then well, I mean, that resonation just it really doesn't matter. I mean, it
Exactly.
doesn't make it good or bad. Hey,
All right,
I have a card as
go for it,
well.
brother.
I have the Thoth deck, the Aleister Crowley.
Nice.
Do you want me
Nice.
to draw?
Yes, please.
All right. Let me give it one more show. All right. Here we go. We got the nine of discs. Gain.
Nine of discs. Ooh, so would these be pentacles or coins or kind of
Yeah.
two? Nine of discs.
Yeah, pentacles.
All right, folks. That's cool. You want me to give you my spiel on it, or do you want to go
Yeah.
first?
Good.
Okay. So just the nine and the disc itself. Let's look at that. I can't see the stream, so when you get a sec, can you throw it up
Yep.
on the delineation one? So then the nine is us, the hermit, right? The system of nine. That's very much it's very much Enki. It's very much Nineveh. The nine is the center of the eight. So the eight is the space. That's the you only get space through eating. Okay, the eight is the past tense to eat. So I ate something yesterday. Okay, cool. That's part of you now. And when you do that, you put something, you create an inside. So you send something through your mouth, through your black hole inside of you, and now you have an inner and an outer, which is a body. So that, in a sense, is the fall, is our world. The nine is the particle in the center of the wave that is the eight. So we have also the disc. The disc shows you that this is pertaining to the snake that eats its tail system. Okay, the coin, the materialist side, something down here and on the north, south, east, west, snake eating its tail, disc circle. This is not a spiral. Okay, this is a disc. A pinnacle, a wealth, a material thing. So it's showing us the combination of nine, and it's showing us the all the other, the coin, the pentacle, the material wealth, the cardinal directions, the thing here. So nine, we very much, if we look at the spheres, let's see, we get Neptune. Okay, so Neptune in itself. We've got the Hermit, I think, in Tarot. So we've very much got, and the Hermit, if you notice, he's holding the staff just like Neptune is holding the trident in the sea. It's a universe, right? There's one person's going to have the central lead tune, and that's going to be what we call the truth or the universe, the one song. And it looks like, the seat of Neptune would be looking up at Pluto right there. So he'd be looking up at character depending upon its choice. Pluto's the representation for me of character, of moral, and that is going to be it's your burnt actor. So it's what you've burned, what you've done. So the black, is what's been burned already up. That's your ash, your earth, your driest substance. It's already been through the fire. It's got rid of all of its water. You can't burn this stuff again. It's sacred. Ash, when you hold a handful of ash in your hand, you're holding a alchemical wonder here. You can That's a very special thing. You have to remove all the water to get down to that. It's pretty sacred. That's why you put ash in an urn. That's why you've got Saturn, and that's why you've got to earn it here. All of that is part of this system, the earth system, the dry, getting rid of the water, turning your water into something different, transmuting it, going from the 80 something percent and starting to discover what the gas is. And then I mean, if you get right down to it, you're only fucking around with the water and the gases, and the real particle, the real metal is in there somewhere. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny percent of you. But your transmission metals, this is how you gain everything from outside of you, is through your metal. So it's the nine, attached to the lower nature, that's showing you sense data, sense wisdom. So right now we're going to be in a time where you're going to get the wisdom of this world. Okay, so you're going to be in the space of this world. The disc and the coin, the four cardinal directions, is a time of wealth. It's a time of abundance and intelligence. You can see it from all angles. You can see the eight around you evenly because you're in the center as the nine, and the space is all even around you. And the eight itself, right there, would be a step up from the six. Okay, so from the six, you're at the hex, which is really a cube on its side, on its vertex. When you jump up to the eight right there, you've got a new shape. What do we have? A stop sign, I think. I think we get a stop sign. So and that would be an octagon, right? An oct is eight. So we've got isn't that where you fight in? You go in the octagon in MMA,
Yeah.
right? Which is pretty much the space that we fight in here. Um, Eight is a representation of space, and as the point in the center becomes the nine, that's why we're the nine. That's why you always look for what you actually are. You're this thing in the center, so you want to go to the odds. You want to add the odd, the Todd. The 13 is where we are as the center of the 12, which is the zodiac around us. So the hidden 13th sign, the whole story behind Ophiuchus, this whole conspiracy out there, it does. Ophiuchus, it is a sign, but it's a Q. Okay, it's the letter Q. It's a man that connects to the center. Okay, it's the alchemical transmutation from the kingdom of the animal, the kingdom of the things led by food and sense and material, and man is going to be the alchemical transition of how you get to the God. So out of animal is man in animal. Man in animal is the
Manimal.
key to the God. Right. So the whole story of the centaur, with the AU as the gold being in that word, it's showing you that the man rises up out of the beast with his logic, his wisdom, his ability to his consciousness expression, his ability to create. And then out of that is the unseen. You can't see what goes up past his head. It's the clear. It's invisible. And that's your true nature, is the invisible that surrounds you, that makes up the image that you call your body. People identify with their image, with what all the sine waves, what you're as the particle, you're attracting certain sine waves with every thought, with everything that you do. So it's very important that when you do bury sine waves, that you BEARE them. You bury, you like the Big Dipper, the Ursa,
Hmm.
right? Ursa is Uranus and Saturn. Ursa, Uranus, Saturn. Saturn is things you keep. When you're talking about things you keep versus raw growth, Jupiter's raw growth, raw expansion. We're going to just fucking do everything. Here's this, here's that, and some more of this. And then here comes Saturn. No, no, that shit needs to go. Hey, who brought this dumb thing? Put this over there. We need two more of these. Saturn is the things you keep, the real preservation. Jupiter preserves through raw growth. Saturn preserves through things you keep. Okay, both of them are form and generation itself. Red and blue, blue being the short wave bouncing off that long red wave. That is Saturn for us here. We all have matter that we play with. All the dirt. I mean, you want to talk about a scientist making shit and being the smart. How did he get his dirt? How did he get his sunlight? This is all Saturn's world. Everything. That's why Saturn is the Lord. That's why they trash him, because they want you to trash the Lord of this system so that you stay fallen, so you stay at the them, at the bottom. The thing where you buy things with fucking Mooney and stuff down here. This is all a part of growth, development, learning. Not all light goes forward from here. Forward is for the ones that possess the force properly, not the ones that spilled the seed everywhere and just fucking threw shit around and have no clue what they're doing with the fucking dimensional gateway system that they're operating.
Right.
So everybody that wants to stick all these vaccines in them and fucking play around like it doesn't matter just to go get some bread and circus. That's the most fucking petty thing in the entire world I've ever heard. That people are literally going to go get some kind of RNA, fucking gene manipulation therapy, experimental fucking drug, gateway drug from Bill Gates going down inside of them for
Yeah.
some bread and some circus. I mean, that is crazy. That is silly. You got to go get your passport. You want to go. I mean, fuck that shit. I mean, all of it. You take all that shit that they've already taken away from you in hopes that they could get you to stick this dumb shit in your body for coming up to give it so because they were going to bait you giving this stuff back to you. And you do not need any of that at all. You've got already a beautiful set of systems that you've come with. There's these magical beans and seeds everywhere. They just fucking grow shit. Like you're good to go. You're
Mhm.
gonna be okay. I mean, when shit hits the fan, because that'll be the next step. They've baited us and trained us on the dollar for a bunch of years. They've stripped all value of it by taking all the gold and metal and silver, and that's how you used to get it into your body. You'd go to pay for something, you'd literally get silver inside of your body by handling the money. And then it's not a coincidence that hand dull is dulling the silver down through time. Where does it go? In your fucking body. Okay? I mean, the gold, where does it go? In your body. You're absorbing it, you're handling it. Handle, candle. I mean, it's all, it's the dull. When you're a candle, you're burning the oil off, you're getting rid of the oil. When you're handling something, you're taking the metal, you're absorbing the transmission metals into you. We don't get that anymore. Now you get iron and steel and Fe, iron. You're a female. There's a fee attached to the male, the MALE, the invisible father aspect that all of you carry, whether you're got a penis or a vagina. It doesn't matter. You all have an invisible nature to you, and your sex is a big indicator of things that you do with your invisible nature. Sorry about it. But if you've got a vagina, that's a beautiful thing. You're a sacred object, and you're a gift to the male. That was literally the most beautiful gift that could ever be given to man was a fucking companion. I
Mhm.
mean, that's Pan, that's nature, that's Ma, that's woman, that's touch, that's feel, that's sense, that's wisdom, that's Sophia, that's Philosophia for the love of wisdom, that's love. I mean, she brought man out of this nasty, beastly, warrior, grotesque, logical necessity nature and fucking tamed him down and civilized him and softened him up a little bit. And it's without that, without the woman's touch, we'd have a fucking world of bastards. I mean, it would be a world without love. You would not have access to the Christ doll, to the crystal, to the real center where she is at. So it's not something you should take lightly, making, like degrading woman secretly in your head, thinking that they chose a path of the left, they got a vagina, and they're going to birth all the loo, all the visible things that we see. And that's, in a sense, without that, we wouldn't have ever discovered love itself. And love, this whole entire system is from love. So when that gift was given, it was given to us to show us something big of who we really are in the invisible world. So we're probably some fucking weird he, she, androgynous transparent that likes to play tricks on itself and apparently masturbate. I mean, that's
Yeah,
pretty much what's
ultimately.
happening here.
Hey.
And we're playing with ourselves. I mean, that's literally what we're doing. All right,
Yeah.
what else we got?
Listen to this. All right, so you'll like this because
12, 12.
this goes with what we were talking about and a little synchronicity. All right, so this is from the book. Remember, this is the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot deck, and we did the 9 of disc. So the equals gain, Yesod in the suit of Earth, Venus in Virgo. The discs are arranged as an equilateral triangle of 3, apex upwards, surrounded by a ring. 6 larger discs form a hexagon. This signifies the multiplication of the original word, the mingling of good luck and management.
Mm, dude, that's like exactly what I was just talking about, all that heck shit.
And the word.
That's great. And the word, yeah, that's the original word. And that is perfect sense because they all form out of the circle, all the letters. You let her. You gave her a ring. You gave her a circle, man. You put a ring on it. When you put a
Put a
ring
ring
on
on
it, she started bouncing off your walls like a motherfucker.
it.
And she created all these let hers. And that's why all the letters give you the original word. And in the beginning was the word. So you get the written word, which is the visible word, which is the spoken word, and then that graduates you to the living word, ladies and gentlemen, where you become the living Christ. And that's Christ said, "You will do what I did, and so much more." And
Easy.
that's reap what you sow, and it's so true,
Yeah.
also. So,
Easy.
um, and you're never going to believe what card I drew from the Crow
Oh, I
Tarot
believe it.
deck. It's almost loaded. It's at 3.3 megabytes. Well, 33. The Page of Pentacles, and it's a
Oh,
crow staring at the hex. So we pulled a disc, which is pretty much the Nine of Pentacles, and we've also got the Page, which is also the Knight. So this would be the Knight of Pentacles or the Knight of Discs or the yes. So we've got a Knight connection right here again. We've got and the Crow Tarot, like I said, so it's close. But we've got let's see, so we've got a black crow sitting on a branch, sitting on a wooden branch. So right here, right away, I see Saturn and Jupiter. Okay, black. I see Capricorn. I see the black crow. Crow knows, guys. Crow knows. Crow absolutely knows. So don't worry about him not knowing. Crow knows. That's what crows do. The scavenger kingdom, you can forget about it. They are the top of the food chain. The ones cleaning up after all the dumb shit we do down here when we're playing with ourselves. The scavengers are the observers. They are the watchers. They're the ones that are, and it just is now trying to reload, so it's being dumb.
which
But
card
it'll
is it
get
again?
there.
Which one?
Um, it, it's the Page of Pentacles. So
Oh, okay, okay.
it's the Knight of Coins. It's the let's see, how do we attach that? It would be the
I got it up.
clubs. Would it be the clubs? You got it on Crow Tarot Page of Pentacles? Cool. All right.
Yeah,
Well, now of course mine loaded. If you want my pajama shot in with it, you can see that
yeah, we'll
too.
get it.
All right, so we've got Jupiter, Saturn. Okay, the wood is Jupiter that the crow is sitting on. Okay, and what do birds sit on? They sit on the ether. You know, that wood is what holds the light through the winter, folks. If you do not have a wood in a root system, you don't get to go through the winter. You die at the fall. If you're just part of the leaf system, you get to leave. You get to go bye bye. You
Yay.
need some wood. You need
Later.
some of that mail. You need some of that wood if you want to hang out. That's why Jupiter, his preservation aspect, right there, folks, the wood. So the wood, the tree kingdom, that's Jupiter. Okay, right where we're at in Oldham County in Kentucky, in northern Kentucky, where I'm in Crest of the Wood, is the name of the little city right here. And this is also where the little bumps start right after it's pretty much a giant tree root that used to connect to the low point of the central US area where all the water would go down at, which today we're calling the Mississippi. But back in the day, this we've always had sometimes it was an ocean and a bay. The Gulf just went right up all the way up to me. I've got seashells and coral full in my creek bed down here, and it's insane. It's all petrified. I've got it for days. I've got weird big teeth shit from, I've got ship anchors. Like I've pulled out weird rusted iron ship anchors and shit from under the ground that are coming from an underground creek thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is an old ship part. So it just shows me that this entire region, we have no idea what. So probably when the New Madrid happened, it pushed all the land up, and now we have all. That's why they've been raping these new farm belts out here, and they grow so much food because they were getting all the nutrients from all the life of the sea, putting the life in the soil, combined from the fucking magna mountain that is the Great Lakes. that pretty much spewed out ash and mixed it probably with the salty limestone shit, and that probably gives us great growing positions for food. And that's probably why they attacked these lands. Mainly was probably for the food to fuel their debt kingdom. I don't even know. I just don't even know anymore. But we're gonna take it back. We're taking the whole damn thing back this time.
Yep.
Um,
Permanent
yeah. So I
fix.
mean, this connects to your night. It's got red flowers popping up everywhere, yellow canary, yellow pentacle. So, yell. That's probably the second sound, folks, is probably the yell. Probably fucking pissed off right away when you got the word because, he's still a wild beast and you got to tame that anger down. Anger's good. I really think it's a good thing if it's placed appropriately. Now, you should be angry with a lot of things that are going on in the world right now. They should disturb you. That would be a natural feeling to have. You wouldn't be crazy to look around and hold that that position at all. So um, there's a lot of things that it's normal for you to be angry about. And let me tell you, I'm definitely personally dealing with that. Um, thank God I have a partner that's deeply understanding because I say horrible things sometimes that I really shouldn't say. And I am definitely going to have to talk to the word gods, and we're going to probably have to review some areas about things that I said out loud. And it's really good I say them with a grain of salt in my soul, that I don't really have the feeling behind some of them, but some of them I have, and it's probably pretty potent in there. So my words are strong. I have a deep silver tongue, and it cuts really deep. I just go, especially when I know somebody. So like if I know you and I've known you for years, I'll just go right for the heart and just start attacking you.
Damn.
And I mean, I know all your weak points, and it can I don't know. I mean, it's vision is not. It's a tool that needs to be used wisely because you can become a judgmental prick real easily if you're not a spiritual, soulful, loving person, and you ought to see things compassionately in a giving nature, because that's the best thing to be here is a giver. I mean, if you can't be a giver without a supply chain, am I correct? You would be a really shitty giver if you didn't have anything to give. So the supply chain, believe it or not, doesn't come from the circle, it comes from the spiral. And that's what's under and above, and that current attaches to you when you become a giver, when you become a provider. When you become a protector and a giver of life to the things around you, at in those moments when you have pure intent in your heart, you also will have to be given and provided for so you can give yourself. And that's something we should all strive to do. Really, that's part of the thing about becoming a parent. You start to see some of those areas of life where you're like, oh shit, I didn't
Right?
I didn't really realize this and this, and wow, I see this
Yeah.
kind of differently now, I guess. And
Yeah. Working.
I mean, some things hit you like a brick, and others take years to work on you. And
Yeah.
um,
It's cool
it's
how young people are. I mean, as a teacher, it's like I learned so much from the youngest people that it's just like it makes me like
plus
look at
one there,
adults and I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? The kids got it
a
figured out
hundred.
pretty good.
I couldn't agree more, man. Absolutely, kids are just bucket full of wisdom, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna roll a couple dice too here. I've got a red and a blue die, so for Jupiter and Saturn. So for our two aspects of form, we've got our long red wave and our short blue wave. Remember that short blue wave. Anything on Jupiter, you're looking at your local Earth wisdom. That's actual matter, material in your pocket, in your possession, and then anything red is going to be things you permanently keep that are invisible. So the aspect of the form that is behind the moon energy, that is the black and the white, that contains the raw form. Okay, so Saturn gives you the raw form, Jupiter colors it. So I've got a blue die and a red die, and I hope it doesn't take 10 years to load this up. So I'm gonna let's see. I've got Aries, and then I've got Saturn on the red die. I've got Saturn red die. I've got Aries on the blue die. That's huge, man. That's this time of year. I'm gonna take a little quick picture, see if I can get this up. And then if you look at this right away, so Saturn on the blue die, folks, we already said that's going to be Jupiter. And that's when the sun exalts right there. Jupiter, if you look at the fire signs and the way that the deacons work, the first 10 degrees of Aries that we're in right now is ruled by Mars. Okay, the next 10 degrees coming up, we're going to have ruled by the sun. So that's where the sun's going to be exalting in the center 10 degrees of Aries. Okay. And oh, yeah, I forgot to post this. Let me just get it loading real quick here. And then so we've got the last deacon of Aries is going to be, which will be coming up on sidereal in about 25, well, 15 days out from the start of it. But that is ruled by Sagittarius in the mutable fire aspect, and that's Jupiter. So this is showing me right here. We've got a big aspect. So, and really also the sun exalting, that's pretty much Jupiter too, right there, because Jupiter is giving you the sun. The Jupiter has one sign a year movement, so it takes 12 years to move through the whole zodiac. Of course, the system of 12 is the system of measurement. We all know 1 plus 2 and 12 is a 3, and we all know that March is the third month. Aries, the ram, 3, movement, bird flying, Jupiter. It's all connected. It's not a coincidence that all that stuff kind of lines up there. Jupiter is this is a marriage right here of Jupiter and Mars. So I was talking with Josh about this a little bit, like a.
Oh, hey, you're breaking up. Uh oh, we lost you. Barry, we lost you. Barry, reboot your phone. Well, hopefully Barry will get back on here in a second. I'm gonna kick him out. How do I kick him out? I can't kick him out. Alright, well, Barry, if you can hear me, turn off. I kicked him. Alright. Hopefully he'll get the. Oh, my camera didn't reload. Alright, here we go. There we go. Well, hold on, everybody. Waiting on Barry. See if he's out in the boons. So I would think too that I believe the sun is going into Aries with. Oh no, the sun's leaving Aries right now, and going into Taurus. I don't know where Saturn is. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna take this moment, I guess, until he gets back here and just show you guys this really cool artist I've been diving pretty deep into lately. And I think we'll try and do an episode where we kind of talk about some of this stuff. Maybe next week. Uh, we have some friends that would be interested in to talking stuff like this too. But definitely look this guy up. He's really cool. Flying
Hey, Todd,
things.
sorry, man.
Hey, bro. Yeah, he
Hey, man.
dropped out,
You
so I
dropped
kicked you.
out. Okay. Did you hear any of it?
Not much.
Okay. So the we drew a couple dice. We got
We got that. Yep.
Jupiter. Okay, cool. And then did we get off into what Aries meant on the blue dice,
Nope.
tied to the deacons?
Uh,
No.
if you want to go over it again, because I think we kind of lost track. So
Right there. Okay, I'll start with the deacon part. So we've got a. I rolled the blue and the red die. The blue's for Jupiter, the red's behind Saturn, and I asked a question about form coming up. What should we, what's obviously should we be looking at? It's set us up obviously where the fuck we are. We've got so this is the time of year that Saturn's actually debilitated. Would be in Aries, opposite Libra area. So it's exalted in Libra, so it goes through its toughest challenges and its debilitation and its kind of its nasty phase right now, which I have a Saturn Libra ascendant. I can tell you right away that this is a tough time, and also Virgo is a very difficult time for me. Anyways, so we've got Jupiter rules the third decan in Aries as mutable fire Sagittarius. Mars is going to rule the first one, of course, as its own sign, and then the Sun exalts in the center, degrees 10 through 19, and that's going to be Leo, the Sun right there, the Christ. So we very much coming up sidereally in 5 or 6 days. We're going to start hitting the sidereal sun position where we're exalting. And this is going to be also the double Venus period tropically of through Taurus. So this is a really special spot coming up. You're guaranteed usually on my birthday, April 27th, no matter where I live for some reason. So I'll tell you if it hits again. I'm in Kentucky. It's happened a couple times in a row here again. But of course, growing up in New Hampshire, you're more likely to get snow up there in late April. But it's a pretty rare time of year to get snow. That could be the Saturn point coming up as well that this dice is showing us here. And this could also be like the blackberry winter they call it around here when different things come out and start to bloom. You get a lot of into your reds now, into your Saturns, and your roses come out. So I mean that we're about to approach this time, the blood, the real blood, the red, the center. Vulcan uh, sits here too. Vulcan rules this position, in my opinion, where the sun exalts, where Venus goes through its double Venus phase, and when we're in tropical Taurus, but we're really in sidereal, the heart of Aries. So they could attack this spot. So watch for the mutual betrayal card during this time right here, during these 10 days. Just be vigilant. Let them fuck themselves up and just stay out of it. Like you said, Todd, turn the TV off. Go out, talk to the oak trees, man.
yeah,
They're
get some
way
fresh air.
safer. Yeah,
They don't got
seriously.
an agenda.
Even if you look up and see a chemtrail or two, block it out, move on, fucking press forward with a smile. They can't take that from you. Seriously, just know that this system was given to you out of love. It's not a logical necessity. So love is your God. Love is your real God. It's your real self. It's your real being. So whatever you can do to hang out in that zone, you're going to feel your most home. You're going to feel your most comfortable. You're going to get to express your being the most to its ability. You're going to get to do what you came here to do. The more you work from the heart, the more you're going to be present here, right now, right here in the present. The present is the blueprint, is the Jupiter's the blueprint, the wings, that's why it's attached to the desire in the will system. That same access, one side's desire, one side's will. And you kind of want to be in the middle of that, honestly. Like I've tried the all the way will side. It's kind of wanky. There's no love in it. You're trying to make everything more efficient around you. You don't fucking understand why people can't see things the way you do. And you really get wrapped up in some dumb perfection world trying to bring it here into duality, which is retarded. So don't go all the way right and stay, straight love, and don't go all the way left and stay straight logic, reason. And just kind of balance the inner and the outer light, be the crystal. It's a real special time, folks. You only get one shot a year to go through your double Venus area to fucking go through this crystal. I mean, your light's gonna go in, it's gonna come out. You're gonna come out on the other side of the mountain. This is where you got Gemini coming up, the two, right? I mean, that's where you've chosen, on the lower stars or the higher stars. Which nature am I going off into here? Did I send shit off into both realms? I've got some good earth wisdom to work with. I'm working on. I'm learning about, either chemistry or geology. I kind of want to see, what's going on in this realm here in those areas. Gemini's a great time for that coming up to really put some pieces together, to connect things, to get lost in things too, to discover things. That's right before Aruga and the boat ride coming up where you've collected all your things and we know what we want to go on a journey for now. Pat, load this shit up. We need this, that, and that. And hey, we're going over here. We've got a pound of weed, a bird named Pinky, and to the east. Take her to the east. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that
Perfect.
was Redman and Method Man, and they knew all these people. All if you're in the club, you've got to be singing about it because they're not going to let you in their club unless you're fucking making fun of them, just like they are. I mean, it wouldn't make much sense to let somebody in your club that's going to fucking bring your club down. So if you want to be in the Hollywood club, if you want to be in the movie industry, you've got to be an astrologer also. You've got to know about the stars because you're going to try to be a Hollywood star, right? You're going to go, remember the hole in the E in the wood preserves the star, right? It holds the light. So all these people that know Tom Cruise, all these people that are using their brain and thinking about celebrities and stars, that's giving them light. That's all of that lights them up and it makes them one of the bright ones. So that's you're very much holding that creation down by giving them the light. So don't forget to give some to the squirrels and the birds and the trees
Silence.
and yeah, silence and think about nothing for a while. That's your own being and yeah, man. But Todd, what else you got? We're about at time here. I mean,
Excuse
divination
me.
is never late, never early, and it has no end. But we're 2.5 hours, so I don't. We're
Yeah.
hitting our normalcy.
Um. Yeah. I mean, I'm good. I got everything out that I need to say. I believe. How about yourself?
Well, I'm pretty sure I just started like probably 500 wildfires, and I'm just gonna walk away right now. It's kind of what I feel like. So
Good.
that's my position. I'm a pot stirrer too. I mean, I'm very much I like to get people thinking. I mean, I like to use I'm a chitra. I guess the nakshatras of the Vedic world. They break if you take the circle. If you divide 360 degrees by 13, which is the sacred number of this system, you get 27.69, which is the moon cycle. So the zodiac divided up into 27. There's the 27 gods or 27 sections of 13 degrees, pretty much. And I'm in a section called Chitra, which is the fucking that's where my Saturn, my Pluto, and my ascendant sit, and just about my moon. And that being in itself uses the body as an illusionary. It's the grand architect of the universe. It's the creative force itself that is there before the creator is even there. It's what the creator uses to create with. So this is exactly where I have um, Libra, Saturn, exalting right on the exact within 3 seconds of my ascendant. So clearly, I came here to bring forth an entire, I came to use my left and right as a tool to fuck people up, confuse them, and show them to look past that, to see the middle and to see the truth. Because the left and the right, if you're on either one of those sides, you're going to turn to fucking stone coming up. And that's the stone cold truth right there. You're because when the left and the right move that fast, you create a fucking really hard matter sound body and you get put in the opposite position. If you're on the left, you go to the right. If you go to the right, you go to the left. But if you're in the middle, you stay put and there's still time. Still time. This still. And if there's still time, there's moving time. And so don't be on the left and right stuck in the moving time. because when time goes to move and time reverses into the word emit, which is time backwards, then you're going to emit whatever kind of light you've been building. And I've been trying to tell people, listen, if you've been setting up your blueprint off the desire world, you're in for a real big fucking shocker coming up. And it is going to shock Uranus, and you are in us. So when you look at that word, it's going to shit out some matter. I mean, it's Uranus too if you go the fucking other way. So it's not pretty. People don't understand that. The word game, spelling system, like you've been saying, Todd, I mean, every word that comes out of your mouth is a creation. Every thought in your head is a creation. Every feeling in your gut is a creation. So create wisely, my friends. Just do this is your only I shouldn't say it only. I mean, I don't own Lee. He's my buddy. He's just my friend. I don't own him. I don't have any slaves. So it's just a it's just a good time to do work. That's all it is. These are beautiful conditions to grow anything you want out there, period. The end. All questions asked. Done. You have all the possibilities in the world at your doorstep, all the sine waves available. Pisces is world consciousness. You have everything available to you. What are you going to make? It's when we're done with this, we're taking all of that information and we're going to blow it the fuck up in Aquarius, and it's going to go big. And it's Aquarius has query in it. Like you asked a question and now you're going to query us, like you're going to pull us up. Okay. I mean, it's all there. It's all in the language. It's the reason I can just go left and right, bounce around on words, and everything's telling the story everywhere. Everything has a story in it. I mean, the Aoi book shows us that. There's been many different forms of consciousness that have broken down language that have shown us that something deeper is happening here, right here in the sound system. And the sound system comes from the unseen invisible system, the thought kingdom, the thing king, the thin king. If there's a
I
thin
like that.
king, there's a fat queen. The opposite of thinking is fat queen. That's Jupiter. That's the big Bertha. She birthed us. She's got our. I don't want to say she's got our back because Saturn's got our back, but it's she colors it. She gives it in living color. Without her, we'd be the outside. So we use those noble gases as the fucking levitation bubble device we're floating in around us that protects us, the atmosphere. That's where the farthest you're going to go is the atmosphere. And it's anything beyond that, the black, you're not going to have a body if you're going to go there because it's got it in the word be lack. You can't take your 13. You can't take your B there. It lacks it there. You've got to do something different if you want to bring fire into the black. You've got to wrap it in the black to bring it in the black and protect it like the Christ child, the crystal, like Virgo. It's there's a story there. It would take I don't even know how fucking long to tell people the fucking story. I mean, we got to just keep hitting on all the little parts of it everywhere. It's the Christ story is a real concept. I mean, to say that Christ means something to you is a real thing that you really end up experiencing, living in the moment in the flesh, like you feel that. And Christ grows on you, and you are in Christ, and Christ is in you, and you are both in the Father. And that is all something that is available to everybody. There's not one person that's done any number of things that is not allowed to access that system. It's all, if you still have a body, you're still putting down oxygen in the system. I'm sorry, but you've made it. You're here. You're in the family of light. All of
Welcome.
us. And we're only going to be as fast as our slowest fucking particle. You're not going to leave Jimmy behind. This is the military. Where you tear a piece off. We're going to tear off Pisces. That's pretty much what's happening. After you get done with all the peace, hit the peace sign. That's not peace. That's a part. I mean, that's telling you you're in the trapezoid. That's the peace. I mean, peace is not whole, and whole is not whole. WHOLE, not HOLE. So it's got a W there in wholeness. So you're together.
You're trying to get her to make her your slave. You're trying to get her to show her, that love wisdom, because that's your goal. You're bringing logic and reasoning to her, and you can take all of her flowy love that she doesn't have organized, and you can see the beauty and everything that she carries, and you can arrange it, and you can help her structure it, and together you can both see amazing things by the pool of information that she brings in phi and the golden mean, and you're bringing the structure. You're the crystal. You're the Christ that arranges it and breaks it down, puts it in an image, and focuses it. So it's, yeah, man, it's a
Good
beautiful
stuff.
story, Todd.
Yeah, good job. That's awesome. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
I think
do
that's
it
gonna
next
be it
week.
for. Yeah, we can probably do that.
All right,
Um,
man. We're gonna do the gorge, right? At some point, meet up down there and get in the woods, and we'll do a
yes.
live show on the beach and the rocks and shit.
We'll have to see because I don't know how we'll do it with the internet, but we'll figure something out. Or we could just shoot an
Okay.
episode and then put it up. But yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Dope.
Everybody who watched and listened, thank you.
Yeah,
Really
thanks.
appreciate you. Like, share, comment. We're gonna try to make the comments. So I don't know if anybody commented on live, but if you did, we'll try to figure out a way to save it. So,
Yeah.
much love to everybody. Keep killing it. You guys are awesome.
Yep.
All right,
All
Todd,
right.
I love you. I'm gonna go stuff some earth food in my mouth.
Nice. Love you too. Take care. Good luck with the scrolls, and hope Amy's finger gets better.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right, y'all. That's it
All
for
right.
today. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.